Ready?
Ready.
Yep.
All right. This is, I'll lower it. I'll say this is kind of loud if you're not used to it.
You know what time it is.
Podcast Tuesday!
Live from Made to Motivate.
Podcast. On a Tuesday night? Damn it!
What up, guys? This is Made to Motivate Podcast, Season 2, Episode 27. Host Ryan Weiss, joined as always by Nicholas Stickley. What's up, sir? What up, guy? Jesse, what's up, sir?
What's going on?
Jesse Young from Sports Illustrated. And you'll notice Chris looks kind of different tonight. He's being filled in by Morgan. What's going on, ma'am?
Hi.
So Morgan's our special guest tonight. We're going to talk about rehab and exercise science and all kinds of things like that. So she's going to discuss that with us amongst some other interesting topics. Jesse wrote a book about Wayfair, and he is currently an investor in them. So we're going to talk about that.
I'm not invested in them, but now will probably be a good time.
Now is a good time. What's going on? What happened since last week, Nick? Do anything fun? Cool? No? All right. Jesse?
Now I'm drawing a blank. I usually have time to think while Nick goes.
You didn't think about it while you drove over?
No, I haven't really done anything. My wife watched Indiana Jones for the first time. She liked it. Yeah.
You guys went to the drive-thru.
We did.
You played matchmaker.
Yeah.
Make me a match.
I don't know if anything came from that.
No? Did you
I don't
ask
know.
him?
No, I didn't ask.
We went to
Steph
the
told me not
drive-in
to push
last
the
week,
issue.
and Jesse was going to try and hook up Chris, friend of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
Yeah, with my wife's cousin. And I mean, he gave her a ride home.
Gave her a ride there.
And then they got back. They left like 10, 15 minutes before we did. And then as I got to the house, they were just pulling out. So maybe there were, I don't know, maybe there were some sparks flying. Who knows?
Did he wear cargo shorts?
Yes.
I'm just curious, like, what movies are at the drive-in right now?
Dude, it was
Classics.
dope. It was The Lost
they?
Boys.
All right.
Which was the first time I'd ever seen it.
Lost Boys, and then what else? Labyrinth.
The
Never-Ending
Never-Ending
Story?
Story, and Christine.
They're all doing like throwbacks right
Yeah.
now until the new ones come out. So they played Goonies and Gremlins.
Mm.
And
A few weeks ago, I saw Jurassic Park and Jaws.
what theater did you see that at?
Midway.
Okay, so when you said you hadn't been to Autorama, I thought you guys saw that there. I didn't
No.
realize you haven't gone there before. Cool. So you went to the drive-in. That was fun.
Yep.
We went as well.
I refinanced my house.
Did you get a hold of my guy?
I didn't use your guy.
Wow.
I used my cousin. What?
Which one of these Jesse's, Mike?
I do what I want.
That's rude, bro.
Technically, he reached out to me first. So,
Yeah, okay.
Andy's
We
family.
probably would have got a better rate.
I don't know, man. It was pretty freaking good.
I'm family. He's like your cousin. It's not even like blood.
You're not. You weren't getting the money off of it. Your boy would have.
This dude.
If you were getting money off of it, I used you.
How'd it go?
Good.
What'd you get?
2.6%, 15 years.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Probably could have done better, but that's okay.
Okay. Well, you know.
As long as you're saving some money.
I'm saving a
Never
ton of
know.
money.
Your wife watched Indiana Jones for the first time.
All three of them.
Why? Like, how is that a thing?
I don't know. She doesn't watch good movies. She watches like,
You just watched Back to the Future for the first time.
yeah, but I watch good movies. There's just a lot of good movies to get caught up on.
Seen yet? That's fair.
You've got like
Have you seen Indiana
10
Jones?
years on me.
I haven't.
Have you seen Back to the Future?
I think parts of it.
What's your favorite movie?
You know, when it comes to movies, like, I'll watch them, but I'm not like a big movie
Not your
person.
thing.
Yeah.
That's fair.
But I would say comedy. Don't judge me, but Step Brothers.
Oh, Step Brothers is
Oh.
great. No?
No.
Oh, it's
I don't like Will
classic.
Ferrell.
Oh, I
Oh,
love
I really
Step
liked
Brothers.
Step Brothers
Yeah.
the first time I saw it, but every single time I watched it, I'm just like, God,
Oh,
I
it
hate
cracks
these
me up
people.
every time.
Yeah, it's a really good movie. Yeah, if you're not into movies, that's fair. But like Jesse, I
Ooh,
would
all the
consider
Avengers. I do like those.
Okay,
I like all of those.
you win points with Nick for that.
Yeah.
He's obsessed
Yeah.
with the
Okay.
Avengers. Those are good.
As Black Widow for Halloween.
Oh,
Oh,
very
nice.
cool. Yeah, that's fun. Movies. What else do we do? Anything else?
I literally
Golf.
didn't do anything.
When did we
this
golf? What day was that? Sunday.
week. Sure.
We went to mini golf. Jesse challenged Chris to a duel to win the belt or something, and he lost. He got last.
Chris runs this huge mini golf tournament with like 25 people, and
it's
it has
cool.
like multiple.
Man, that's legit.
Yeah, like it's ridiculous. He pays it all out. Like there's cash prizes. Like
Wow.
This is what the
I think there's
12th year?
25 people in this league.
25 people in the league.
He runs like multiple matches a week. Keeps track of scores of everything. Has like a
Wow.
spreadsheet. Like he puts out fun facts. Like this is the first time a newcomer has won since 2007 when such and such did it. Like it's crazy. He's like ESPN of mini golf.
Yeah.
I was literally just gonna say that.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome though. But yeah, so you can challenge like anybody at any time to take their spot. So Jesse tried to be all slick and was like, "Hey Chris, I need to practice to get better."
It wasn't a setup.
And then he was like, "All right, I'm challenging you," and then he lost anyway. So
Yeah.
Nick took my spot though. So mini golf was good. Didn't do much on the deck. Nothing exciting. Let's be real. Nothing exciting happened.
It's
We went to the
never
movies
exciting.
and that was it. So it is what it is. Have you done anything exciting over the COVID or?
I mean, the very first week it started, I went to Florida for $35.
Really? Oh, really? When was that?
I'd like the first full
March?
week. Yeah.
Because we got so
Flights
we were
so cheap.
we were in Orlando we actually got invited to go to a podcast expo
Mm-hmm.
in Orlando. So we were there the weekend it all like popped off,
Mm-hmm.
and it was me, Jesse, and Nick, and we flew back home on a Sunday, and then that same day we got back, they were like 3 cases of COVID for people from Ohio, and we're like, it's fucking us.
yeah.
We're the fucking ones that brought COVID here, and it wasn't, thankfully, but like that was it, and that was like everything fell apart after that weekend. So it was wild.
Yeah, I went to Florida that first week, and then one of my friends actually was supposed to get married June 27th up here,
Okay.
and 5 weeks prior, the venue canceled their wedding, and they had been in Austin staying with her mom, and so we flew down because they ended up just
Jeez.
planning it down there in a
Yeah.
month.
That's
So it was
crazy.
down there last month. Yeah.
I would like to go somewhere.
What does a
like,
COVID wedding look like? Like, did they have to restrict how many people were there, or?
Well, it was all family, and it was like a backyard type of thing. They did a
Gotcha.
really nice job with it though. But
Yeah.
I mean, restrictions down there weren't bad. The only thing they had to do with food, everything had to be in like to-go boxes.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't serve
Self-serve.
anything. Yeah. So everything was just like individually portioned. But honestly, that was the only difference.
I think I'd like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to go up and have to wait in line. Just give me my to-go box and
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when they serve it to you anyways. But
yeah.
now they're like saying, because I was talking to someone at Jersey's for the fight, and she's getting married in September. Like they all have to wear. They're like, she's like, I don't want my wedding because everyone has to wear a mask. She's like, we're gonna take
My
pictures.
cousin gets
everyone's gonna wear
married
a
on
mask.
August 1st.
You have to
So
wear a
it's going to
mask.
be interesting to see
Yeah.
how that
It depends
goes.
on how strict the venue is. I
Well,
guess.
and what county as well, right?
County, yeah, what
Mhm.
county you're in, if the venue is going to enforce it or
Yeah.
not enforce it. I can't imagine, like, I do wedding photography and wedding videography, and I'm like, I can't imagine doing a wedding and a bunch of people.
Yeah, having to wear.
Like, why would you even want to take pictures of that? Like, why would you even want pictures of that if
Yeah.
it's your wedding? Like,
My cousin just canceled his. He was
Yeah.
supposed to get married, I think, like the last week of July, and he was just like, "Nope, we'll
just
do it some
postpone
other
it till
time."
next year. Yeah.
Yep.
If mine was this, like, if I was getting married this year, there is no way.
Mm-mm.
But prior to like everything kind of lightening up, like you couldn't have dancing.
Mm-hmm.
If you were eating or drinking, or you had to be sitting the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was no walking around with a drink or anything. Like
Mm-hmm.
not for how much a wedding costs. Like I ain't
Yeah.
not spending that kind of money to do
Yep.
nothing. That's whack. So but that's cool. Yeah, nothing. Like I said, we changed the show up and stuff because of COVID, but haven't been able to do anything super exciting. Hopefully it's done soon. It's getting out of control, man.
Yeah.
All
We were
kinds
supposed to
of-
have a Made to Motivate party.
Yeah.
Now it's not happening.
Oh, what was that going to consist of?
We were just gonna have everybody that follows
Yeah,
That's
come over to
awesome.
Ryan's
Big-
place, and
Yeah.
We still try.
yeah,
Listen, yeah, we're gonna do like a listener party and have food
Mhm.
and do a cookout.
That's awesome.
Oh, hopefully still soon.
Maybe.
I gotta finish the deck anyway.
Maybe like
so.
an end of summer type deal.
Yeah,
Hopefully this blows over.
yeah.
dude, it's wild, and it just keeps getting worse. We'll talk about that and let's get social. Let's do Made to Motivate. So that's where we're gonna discuss in detail everything that Morgan does. Hopefully you'll learn something exciting that you can help yourself with health
Hopefully.
wise. It's the purpose of
No
your
pressure.
show. So let's get over to Made to Motivate, and we will have Morgan tell us a little bit about herself.
Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it. Make your dreams come true. Just do it.
What up? Made to Motivate. This is our favorite segment. It's what we named the show after, or we named the segment after the show. I don't know. One way or another, this is where you're going to learn something fun and exciting. In this case, Morgan is going to talk to us about exercise science. Is that what we'd call it? What would you define it as? What do you do?
You know, I just kind of came up with the name like a couple weeks ago, and it sounds so simple, but just Injury Rehab Specialist.
There you go. Yeah, I saw that on your notes. I know if that
I
was
have
like
spent years trying to think of something to call myself, because technically my background is athletic training. I'm a licensed athletic trainer, but I don't practice athletic training.
Okay.
And that's not a very like commonly known thing to people unless you're an athlete, because you need an athletic trainer with sports.
Right.
So just to come up to like an average person and be like, yeah, I'm an athletic trainer, they're going to be like,
I don't need your help.
So can you like make me a diet?
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
No, that's not what I do.
Okay. So speaking of that then, okay. So you went to school. Where'd you go to school?
Kent State.
Okay. So you went to Kent State and you studied.
What, you go to Akron?
Akron.
Okay.
Can't read, can't write.
Whatever. I'm here. So
Right. So you went to Kent State and you studied exercise science?
No, it's a Bachelors of Science in Athletic Training.
Okay.
Yeah.
So completely different. What does that like consist of? If you weren't working for yourself, like what would I have
gone into? So normally like when you graduate, you're either in a clinic setting or you work with like a high school or a college team. On the sidelines, you're the one that runs out when they get hurt.
Okay.
You do the concussion testing, help with the physicals, stuff like that.
Okay.
Do the rehab with them. For high school, normally obviously bigger teams like professional teams, they have like their whole like medical team. Yeah.
Right.
But athletic trainers are normally the ones like if you're watching something that are running out onto the field when someone gets hurt.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a 4-year program or?
Yes. Now it's a 5-year there, but it's a combined undergraduate and graduate degree.
Okay.
But normally, well, when I was there, it was 4-year. I think a lot of them are trying to do a 5-year though.
Yeah.
Combined one.
More money. What made you want to go into that? Like what made you decide that's what you wanted to do? Was that a thing you always wanted to do or?
You know, when I was in high school, like for the PLCC, which is like our vocational school, I went to Coventry. And I heard, like, I played basketball in high school, and I heard a couple of the upperclassmen talking about how easy this sports medicine class was. And I was like, oh, sweet, easy A. Like, I'll take that. I got good grades anyways. Like, I was a straight A student.
Right.
But I was like, okay, cool, I'll take that. And I love sports. And so I just thought it was, like, a cool way to stay around sports. And then when I was a junior, I hurt my back. And that lasted for, like, 7 years of just, like, super intense back pain. I think I had, like, almost every diagnosis that you can have.
Jeez.
When I was 18, they told me I had the back of like an 80-year-old. They diagnosed me with like stress fracture. I was in a back brace for 2 months. I had 2 rounds of cortisone shots, went to 3 different physical therapy clinics, met with a spine surgeon. This was all before I was 20.
Jeez.
Was that just something that occurred or like, did you do
it was
something?
Just like, I was literally, we were walking through plays in basketball practice and I just like turned awkwardly and all of a sudden I like couldn't stand up straight, but I didn't want to tell anyone. And I'm like, oh, it'll just like wear off. And I didn't want to tell anyone. And then like at the end of practice, I like moved awkward and just got this like super sharp pain like down my legs. And I just started crying. I'm like, I don't know what I did. And then after that, I just remember it took me like minutes to like sit down to stand up. Or if I were to lay down to try to stand up, like it would be like 3 to 5 minutes, which you're like, oh, 3 minutes. But when you just can do it in 3 seconds, it's like a really long time.
Absolutely.
And I couldn't put on my socks by myself. Like I couldn't do anything. And so I went to the doctor and I'm pretty sure they diagnosed me with a stress fracture right off the bat, but that's pretty much what they diagnose any active female athlete, like an adolescent athlete, because just a lot of extension. You're not very strong in your core. And so it's just like your spine banging against each other, stress fracture. They put me in a back brace for 2 months, which I'm not a big fan of braces because from what I know now, it basically just sends a signal to your brain saying like, hey, you're wearing this brace, so those muscles don't really need to work that hard. So you think it's doing good, but really these muscles are just they're going to take a break. They're going to just turn off for a little bit. So then you take the brace off and these muscles haven't been forced to do anything for so long. And so they're even more weak than when you had to put the brace on.
Wow.
So I wore this brace for 2 months, went to physical therapy, and like the physical therapy helped at first. And then eventually the pain just came back and it got to the point I had like numbness and tingling down my legs every day. Just shooting pain. Sometimes it'd get to the point I'd randomly throw my back out to where like I couldn't sit down, stand up.
Right.
It was,
Jeez.
yeah, it was a lot for that age.
Yeah.
And then I was in sports medicine and I ended up falling in love with it. And it came really easy to me. I was like, I love learning about the body.
Right.
And then I went to college because when I was in high school, I was like, oh, maybe I could go to like a small college and play basketball. And then when I hurt my back, I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. So then I went to Kent State just to be around sports. I loved being around sports. And I was like, well, this is my way that I can still stay around athletes. And then the more I learned about the body, and then one of my friends introduced me to this physical therapist. His name is Kelly Starrett, and he has a couple books called Supple Leopard, like 2 different versions. And I just kind of like became obsessed with it. I like binge watched all of his YouTube videos, read his book, started like educating myself about things that that I wasn't learning in school. Like nothing against that program, but the rehabilitation classes that we took there were a joke. Like I took an internship in Columbus for a semester. I worked at Nationwide Children's Hospital down there. And I learned so much more in that semester than I did in the 4 years, like at Kent for rehab. Like they teach you really well how to like eval an injury, run out, like to be able to show up in an emergency situation. They teach you really well for, but at the other end of that, after the emergency situation is done, and now you have this athlete who's injured, like so many students came out of that program, like, I don't know what the fuck to do. Like when I graduated, I had a lot of my colleagues reaching out to me and they're like, hey, you're like the rehab person. What do we do with this person? Because it was just all self-taught for me at that point. So I learned about the body and I realized like my core is weak as fuck and my hips were extremely tight. And so I just started implementing these mobility tools that I was learning on my own. And before I knew it, it got to the point where, because back pain always just used to be second nature to me, that I was just used to it. I never thought about it because it was just always there. And then it eventually got to the point where I was like, wait, I don't have back pain today. And then like one day would turn into like 3 days, and then 3 days turned into like a month. And then I was like, this is weird. Like I'm not used to this. So then you have to like almost rewire your brain, because so many of us, when we get hurt or we have chronic pain, that becomes part of our story. Right. You know, and we almost like connect to it so much that we don't know what our life looks like without having that pain. And so regardless if we're healthy or not, you tell yourself you're not healthy because you don't know a life like
without that.
Yes, without it. So I basically just rewired my brain to be like, this is your new normal. Like when you have back pain, that's not normal. And now you know how to address it. So now like randomly, if I do like a heavy workout, like if I like just hammer my legs and my glutes get really sore, which is your butt for people that don't know anatomy. If it gets really sore, I'll sometimes get like a little bit of nerve pain. It's just because that muscle's inflamed, but I know how to address it now. Yeah. And so, it just got to the point where I like didn't have pain, and like a couple months is now turned into like 6 years. So
that's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. So you said a couple things that I find interesting. One, the education part, like how they taught you some stuff, but it wasn't like an in-depth. And we've kind of talked about that on the show with different, like Jesse's a teacher. So I don't know if you guys talked about that before we got on the show, but so Jesse teaches and stuff. So we talk about education a lot, and we pick Jesse's brain on like what's taught, how is it taught, like what's the curriculum, stuff like that. But to your point with something like this, like I believe in furthering your education. I think college is important for certain fields, this field being one of them. But I think it's something where, like, if you know that's what you're going to do, that there needs to be like directed program. Like you shouldn't have to go to school and learn about aquamarine science and math, like
the stupid superlatives that they want you to take for well-rounded education.
Oceanography for me.
Right. So like it's like I took oceanography, and it's like, look, I want my field to be this. Yeah. You should be able to spend 2 years dedicated to that and not have to have all this fluff or filler, which I don't know if it's for money or what the purpose of it is or why they do that.
It's definitely for money.
Oh, for sure.
It's so
So
all the landscaping, man.
I know, right? But it's like you could focus on that and get so much more out of it for what you're paying for than to have to spend all this money and time to then go on and self-teach. Seems crazy to me. The other thing was the back brace thing. That's wild to me because so I hurt my back like real bad several years ago, and I have no idea how. Like I woke up one morning and I literally couldn't like stand up. And the only thing that felt better was to put a back brace on. The only thing I could do to be able to like walk was to strap like a freaking like Velcro thing on, and I'd be fine while I was wearing it. And then, but like to your point, as soon as I would take it off, I'd be miserable again. I've been working on my deck, and like my lower back always fucking hurts.
Mhm.
Is that like because you need to like stretch beforehand? Is it like when you get in that position, your muscles like tighten? Like, how does that work?
So-
Obviously, I want to get into more about what you do, but that just kind of like
Yeah.
struck up something with me, and I'm like, how?
Ryan's like, fix me.
Yeah, like
there's a couple different things. And it depends on like the type of pain you're experiencing, and just like
a lower back ache, like dead
Okay.
center, middle of my back.
Yeah.
Like, so on my deck, a lot of times I'm like crouched down,
Mhm.
screwing like the wood into the framing of the deck. So like I'm in an awkward position.
Yep.
And I'm like that for a while. And then
and you
like
go to stand up and you can't.
ever since I started building the deck, I've had nonstop every day. My lower back is just like on fire.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't affect me walking or like doing daily stuff, but it's just like, fuck is wrong with my back.
Yeah.
It's like awful.
So yours sounds like more of just an imbalance between you probably have tight hip flexors.
Mhm.
Your hip flexors, I just did a post on this last week, so go back on my
Okay.
Facebook and watch it.
Absolutely.
Your hip flexor, it comes up and it connects actually to your spine, even though it's in the front of your body.
Yeah.
It comes up and it connects to your spine, but it also connects to your low back
Okay.
muscle. And so when you are crouched down or like in this flex position,
Yeah.
our hip flexor is shortened. And if we do that constantly, a shortened muscle becomes a tight muscle.
That's what I thought.
And when your hip flexor is tight, it's going to pull on that low back.
Makes sense.
And so then you're going to have a hard time standing up all the way because your
Yep.
hip flexors are like stuck in that position essentially.
Right.
And two, normally if you have a really tight muscle in the front, then the opposite is going to be weak.
Right. Makes
So
sense.
it's probably just your low back is fatigued and then it's just getting yanked on by your hip flexor. So there's a couple hip flexor stretches that you can do.
Okay.
Just one, it's my favorite, and I can show you actually before I leave
Yeah.
because it's really simple.
Yeah.
And then just strengthening your low back
Yeah.
would probably be best. That's why I love doing deadlifts.
Mhm.
A lot of people who have back pain are like scared of them, and that's maybe because maybe their doctor told them not to do it, or
Right.
they're just like, well, when I deadlift, like my back gets sore, and so they relate like muscle soreness to back pain, which is not true.
Right.
And that's a lot of times when I train with my clients who do have a history of low back pain.
Mhm.
I'll tell them, okay, I need you to make sure that you know the difference between a muscle pain and a joint ache. Like there is a difference.
Yep.
Deadlifts will give you the muscle soreness. I shouldn't say pain, muscle soreness.
Yeah.
But like your low back, like symptoms will show up as like a joint ache,
Yeah.
you know? So I try to teach them to learn the difference because
Identify what it is.
deadlifts, are a great exercise to strengthen your back. And not to mention, they pretty much relate to everything we do in everyday life. Like when you're picking something up off the ground, laundry, a child, like whatever it is, when you're bending over and standing up,
Yeah.
you need to strengthen that position that you're in
Hmm.
and then stretch the opposite. So stretch the front, strengthen the back.
So to that, I have a question for that too, because for the longest time, I thought one thing and then I was told the other, but I don't know which one's true or not. So growing up, you're always taught stretch before you work out.
Mm-hmm.
Then I don't know what it was not long ago. I was going to gym a lot and someone told me that you shouldn't stretch before, but you should stretch after,
Mhm.
which I thought was really weird. And I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
Did we ask Taylor that?
I wasn't here for Taylor.
Oh, you weren't here for Taylor.
I
I always thought that was so, I mean, it made sense to me because like after the fact, you like worked it and you want to stretch everything back out, but it just seems so contradicting to like what you're taught growing up.
Yeah. So what we were taught growing up is like pretty much bullshit.
Pretty much everything we were taught growing up is
Yes.
bullshit.
So with all the research they've done now, it's just like,
Yeah.
you really can't believe it. It's like we were lied to our entire life.
It honestly feels that way.
Yes.
It does.
So
Columbus discovered America and sailed and saved us all. Bullshit.
So when you warm up, you want to do dynamic warm up, which is like so there's static and dynamic stretching. Dynamic is pre-workout, static is post-workout.
Okay.
Dynamic will help promote blood flow. You have to think like if whatever exercise you want to do, like weighted, then do that exercise. Like, so if you want to bench press, do push-ups. If you want to do barbell back squat, then do body weight squats. But also like you can do walking lunges to open up your hips.
Yeah.
There's like just certain stretches that you can do where you are moving in and out. You're not holding any position.
That makes sense.
And that's going to help promote blood flow. It's going to increase range of motion. It's going to like get your body temperature up and just warm you up for the workout. So
it's like doing like a lighter indirect version of the workout you're going to do.
Essentially, you're
Kind of
doing like a mobility workout before
makes
the workout.
so much more sense.
Yeah. So then you do your workout, and then at the end is when you do the static stretching, which is where you hold, where you focus on your breath. You start to stimulate. It's called your parasympathetic nervous system, which is like the rest and digest nervous system, which helps promote recovery in the body. So that's what like the hold stretches will do. And for anyone listening or watching, that's please hold more than 10 seconds.
Hold your breath.
No, stretch.
Oh, your stretch.
Yeah. So many people like with stretching, it's like, oh, do 10 to 20 seconds or 30 seconds. Like,
yeah.
so Kelly Starr, the physical therapist I referenced earlier, he's done a lot of studies that showed soft tissue. So your muscles, they don't make change for anything under about 2 minutes.
Okay.
So when I have my clients hold stretches, I'll introduce it to them like a minute on each side, but then we work up to 2 minutes of doing something.
I would have never thought to do that.
Yeah.
I know. Because you're not taught that.
Yeah.
It's
We
so
always
weird.
did like 30 seconds, but then it was like 3 rotations of 30 and that was it.
Yeah. Like
I would have been doing like,
Which, I mean, it's better than nothing, you know, but especially if you're someone who has like a chronic pain or you just like hammered a body part, well, then you need to like give yourself the due diligence to like relax that muscle, you know, and give it a chance to recover.
Right.
So,
makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
I wanted to go back real quick when you were talking about programming your brain to get over your injury.
Mm-hmm.
So years ago, I pinched my sciatic nerve
Mm-hmm.
and it was terrible. I thought I pulled my quad, so I let it go for forever. And by the end of it, I was twisted like an S and like forward.
Yeah.
And I got like the chiropractor. Dude was a joke. Like it didn't do anything for me. I went to physical therapy, and then like 3 sessions later, they like miracle cured me. But forever after that, like I would occasionally get like this ghost pain, but it wasn't like a pain. It was almost just like I was aware. Like it was almost like a scar or something. Like I was just like, oh, I'm afraid to move because like it's there. Is that what you mean? Or is it like
Kind
how
of.
do you train? Like, is it just telling yourself like, no, you're not hurt anymore? Or is there like mental exercises that you had to go through for that as well?
So it's kind of like a little bit of both, I guess. You just have to develop this new identity. And like, I feel like for you, so when people get hurt, they sometimes like without even realizing it, so subconsciously, like they stray away from the exercise or movement that hurt them.
Yep.
So if you bent over to the left and you threw out your back, well, then maybe next time when you're at the grocery store and you go to lean down, you have to like totally position yourself so that you're forward facing it. You can just like squat down and grab it as opposed to like twisting and bending, but you don't even realize you're doing it. It's just like this protective mechanism in your body.
Yeah.
So what you can start doing is just slowly like reintroducing that movement. And I would recommend doing like a shortened range of motion. So maybe going back to that example, instead of bending and twisting, maybe you just start standing and like twisting to your counter to pick something up and bring it back to center. And you're like, okay, I don't have pain with that. So let's do it like 5 more times just to like rewire this like motor, like this motor control that like when I move this way, I'm pain free, you know?
Right.
So then after that, maybe you can work on just like bending down. You're like, okay, well, I don't have pain with bending down. So then you bend down halfway and then twist to the left. No pain. So then eventually you just kind of like, you have to rebuild that trust with yourself, you know? And it can take time. And that's why some people, they would rather just use the excuse, well, I can't move that way anymore. You know, I'm old. I can't move that way anymore. That drives me nuts. And that's why having a coach can help, because not a lot of people would think to like, oh, if I just like break this movement up in stages to rebuild that trust, then my body's going to know like, hey, this is safe. You can do this.
Right.
But then, another part of it is just telling yourself like, hey, we're not hurt anymore. So let's not think that way. Or when you do feel like you want to tense up, be like, we're okay. Like you have to like positive affirmations, you know, like I'm safe. Like I am pain-free. I feel good. Like everything's fine. You know?
Yeah.
Pause and like just do reaffirmations with yourself. Like, literally like stop and tell yourself, all right,
yes,
we're going to get through this. Like I can make it happen.
Yep.
A lot of it's just being conscious of it.
Yep.
Being willing to do it, obviously, because to your point, it's lazy. You could just say, well, screw it, I'll do something else instead. But it all like makes so much sense and it just seems so logical, but it's not to everyday people, like, you know.
Well, and I think some people too, they I know working with athletes, like an injury can be super traumatic
Yeah.
for someone, especially if it's been their identity for so long and now they're injured and they can't do the thing that they grew up doing or they got the scholarship doing
Yeah.
or whatever, or like that's just what they're known for.
Right.
And so when they get hurt and that gets taken away from them, it's like they have to develop this whole new person,
Yep.
like without this. And so that can be very traumatic. So it's just learning how to like communicate with that person and knowing that like what they're feeling is actually valid,
Right.
you know, and then helping like them regain that trust with their body again so they can get back
Yeah.
to normal, but also realizing like that, and that's a whole different conversation about identity,
Right.
you know, like forming this identity to something so strong that if it does get taken away, you're just like totally lost.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
To,
But
to that point, do you think that there are injuries, like as athletic injuries, that like you can't come back from, or do you think there's ways to like always get through it somehow and be able to perform? Like just for example, like a serious injury and how it affects you. I was watching UFC on Saturday,
mhm.
and one of the girls fighting, Paige Van Zandt, I think is her
Oh,
name.
yeah.
She had like destroyed her left arm. Like it's got like pins and like shit in it or
Mhm.
whatever, you know. So she had been off for fighting forever, and it was her first fight back, and you could tell like how timid she was because I'm sure
Mhm.
like that was traumatizing.
Mhm.
And in that type of physical sport, obviously like you got to be careful, but you could see like that PTSD kind of thing like in her, and she lost like in 30 seconds because
Mhm.
sure she was just terrified she was going to hurt herself
Yeah.
again. Like, do you think there's certain injuries like that where like it's probably not a good idea to continue to do it, or is a lot of it really just mental once you've physically healed?
Yeah, I mean,
Obviously,
this
every
is just
situation's different, but
yeah,
like,
this is like obviously just my opinion, but
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely think that there are some situations to where you're like, all right, I probably won't go back into that, but I can still be active, just doing different things, you know?
absolutely.
And that's not taking anything away from the person in their recovery, saying that like, because some people are like, well, they told me I could never get back to doing what I'm doing, so I'm
Right.
going to prove them wrong. Like, and there are people, you know, there's people that have been paralyzed who can walk again and do this stuff again. But it's like when it comes down to it, like be smart.
That's
you
what I
know?
was kind of trying
Is
to
it
get
really
at. Like,
worth like yeah.
don't try and prove a point. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, like you want to heal, you want to get back to being physical again, but also don't take that to the point where you're going to like injure yourself again and do something stupid. But
Yeah.
so let's talk about, I guess let's get in detail like what you really do. So you went to school,
Mhm.
graduated Kent State,
Mhm.
and then like right off the rip, you decided to get into working for yourself, or how
Yeah,
did that
pretty
work? How'd you
much.
get
I
started?
mean, they are very adamant on wanting people to go to grad school, but at the time I was just like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm over it. I don't want to go to school right now. I just had to like, there's just something inside me that was just like, you can't go to grad school. So I just didn't go. And at the time I was working in sports performance it was like a privately owned facility. And when I graduated, I had the opportunity to just kind of like build like a business within a business. You know, I had like this umbrella. I was an employee of them, but I was like the sports medicine person. I was like the
Okay.
rehab person that if they worked with like youth, high school athletes, college athletes. So if anyone ever got hurt, like it would be just like, okay, well, you can go see Morgan and we'll see what
Okay.
you can do. Or if someone like broke a leg or sprained an ankle or at practice, but they still wanted to come and train and be like, well, you need to modify. So like you can go see Morgan. So I had the opportunity to start doing that. And then some of the parents reached out because they were like, well, I want to work with her. And this one woman had ruptured her Achilles. And so she was like kind of my first rehab person, and she had been through physical therapy and stuff, and just it kind of just wasn't the same.
Mhm.
So her and I started working together, and I started as Achilles rehab, and then she ended up getting like really healthy, and she was like, well, I still want to work with you. And so then that's kind of how it started, more of like, I don't like calling it personal training because I do so much more than that. I almost feel like personal training is downplaying what I do.
Right.
So I just like, I think of myself as more of like a strength training coach, I guess, because I just teach people how to move properly with weight. But she got healthy, and then I had another parent who saw me working with her, and she reached out and she was like, I'm an endurance cyclist, but I had knee surgery and I've never been the same since. And my surgeon said I'd never be able to do anything again without having pain and blah, blah, blah. And so her and I worked together, and we literally started once every other week. And I gave her homework for the 2 weeks that we didn't work together. And she was like, right?
All good.
That was supposed to go off tomorrow morning, not tonight. But she was like a straight A student. She listened to everything I said, did everything to a T. And we would meet up every other week. I would see how she's progressing, give her some new stuff. Then we started working together once a week and then twice a week. And she went from having pain constantly while cycling to training for a half marathon, to hiking Pikes Peak in Colorado, that mountain,
Jeez.
to
She
cycling.
hiked Pikes Peak.
Yeah, with her son.
Oh my God, I drove Pikes
Wow.
Peak and it was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
She did so much. She's in her 50s. She's stronger than she's ever been. Yeah, and no pain.
Yeah.
So, and from there, I just started like, it was just word of mouth. Like I never advertised for myself at that point.
Right.
But then all my clients who started working with me, who came to me for injuries, got healthy, and they're like, well, I still want to work with you because I have the knowledge to, if you were to get hurt, or if that pain did come back, I know how to address it, you know? So it's like, you can come to me for like a quote unquote personal training session,
Right.
but if you get injured, I can send you home with a home exercise program, or I have the tools available to do rehab if we need to do rehab, which is what I do now. I have some clients who work with me,
Yeah.
and they're like, man, my like shoulder's really been bothering me, or my low back. And I'm like, okay, we'll just spend the first 15-20 minutes rehab.
Right.
And then we'll go into like your workout, and I can modify or kind of do whatever, like we can change it up as needed.
Right.
Yeah.
So it just kind of grew from there, and I just had word of mouth spread. So people that were injured would come see me, and people who were healthy but just were looking for like a trainer and cared about the education aspect of fitness would start to work with me. And then that fell through. And then at the time I got a job with NovaCare, which is like a physical therapy clinic, just because I wasn't really happy in the sports medicine or the sports performance field. So I got a job with them, learned a few things. It was great for a couple months, but then I hated the drive because it was up to Beechwood, and I was like, fuck this, I'm tired of driving that. And then at the time I was dating a guy who talked to his gym owner over in Springfield, and I started my own thing there as like their trainer. They like marketed me as the personal trainer there.
Yeah.
And he's like, no one's ever been able to make this work, so good luck.
Yeah.
And I just like blew up within like in the 3 years I was there, I had like maxed out my schedule as much as I wanted to.
Oh.
And I couldn't really do any of like the rehab stuff that I like love to do. It was just I was just marketed as a personal trainer. So those were the
Right.
people I was getting.
Right.
And I just kind of became bored with it. And so 2 years ago, I moved to a steel yard in Portage Lakes and started training there. And then now I'm getting more into back to like the stretching and therapeutic massage and more of the hands-on stuff that I really, really love.
Yeah.
But I mean, regardless, if I work with all kinds of people, like people that just want to kind of like lose weight. I don't want to say typical, but you know, your typical looking for a personal trainer. I want to lose weight. I'm a beginner. I want to learn how to like work out. I love teaching beginners because I love showing people like you're so much more capable of doing something than what you think you are, and just like helping them build that confidence and showing them like, this is a barbell. It's not that intimidating. Like you will be able to lift it by the end of this session.
Right.
And they walk out and they're like, I had no idea I'd be able to do that. So I love doing that.
Stuff.
Yeah. And then I just love like when people come in and they're injured and then they leave and they're like, I had no idea I could feel this good.
Right.
You know?
Change people's lives.
Yeah.
So you do rehab,
Mm-hmm.
you do actual personal training,
Mm-hmm.
you do massage stuff.
It's more of like therapeutic massage, and like
Not like you're not going in like hot
it's
stone
not like where you go
massages.
get naked and land under a table. It's like more athletic based.
Yeah.
I incorporate like a lot of stretching, different types of stretching, fascial release, active release, and cupping.
You're like working muscles and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, you do the cupping stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought that was super interesting. Tom just did that, right? Was it Tom that did the cupping stuff?
How long do those
Wild.
bruises last? Because his were like insane.
I think it depends too on the person, but from the people that I've done it to, it's probably like 3 to 4 days that they.
Okay, because
It's
his looked
like
like they would have been
hickeys.
on there for like 2 weeks. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, dude, like what did you do?
Well, actually, I just worked with a client today who he saw me. What is today? Monday. He saw me last Wednesday, and he still had like barely one left at the bottom. So
What does that do?
Yeah. So it lifts the skin and like the tissue and just promotes fresh blood to the area, which basically stimulates the healing process.
Gotcha.
Which, I mean, it's pretty much what every like. I have a voodoo band, which not a lot of people know what that is, but that's like a rubber band, and I wrap like an injured area. Or like if you were to have arthritis in your knee, I'll wrap your knee. If you come in and you're stiff, I can wrap like a muscle.
Yeah.
And you leave it on for 2 minutes and you run it through its range of motion. So if it's your knee, you do like squats, lunges, whatever.
Right.
You take it off and just immediately fresh blood rushes to the area, and it just helps. I think of it as like cleaning out the gunk, bringing in fresh blood, stimulating the healing process. So
That's
Gotcha.
wild.
Yeah.
Nick's here.
Hey guys.
So we took a brief pause there for a moment so I could get Nicholas here. Sorry about that. No worries. Nick had to do double duty tonight, so he's a little behind schedule. So we were talking about cupping therapy and Tom and bruises, and how long do they last?
Like,
I missed that.
I think like 3 to 4 days probably, but it just depends on the person.
Tom's were wild.
Yeah,
Like,
Toms were crazy.
dudes were like grapefruit
Huge.
sized, man.
Dark purple.
It's not bruising though. It's just like a hickey. Like,
Yeah.
well, I don't think they're supposed to hurt. You know, the
Yeah.
muscle might be sore, but yeah.
So we talked about that because you do the massage therapy type stuff, and you do the weightlifting.
That's what I asked her was. So you said that there was a woman who had already done physical therapy, but then she came to you for rehab. So like, what is the difference between you and a physical therapist?
Yeah. So my first answer was like that I'm not a physical therapist
Yeah.
or a massage therapist because I get asked that too, and I don't want to
Yeah.
like piss those people off. I'm not trying to be you, okay? So
There's enough people out there for all of us.
physical therapists are more of like your basic like low like level 1 rehab. It's like post-op, so post-surgery, or you like just hurt yourself and you need to go to physical therapy, or your insurance pays for it because I'm cash based.
Yeah.
So like insurance will pay for it. So it's normally like more acute injuries. If they do have the chronic, those people aren't normally very fun to work with because it's kind of like they're just riding it out, you know?
Yeah.
I will say the physical therapy clinic that I do rent space from in Green, they're awesome. They're very progressive, but I
Where
do
you
not
go?
find, it's called Physio Balance and Sports Performance off of Butler Road.
Yeah.
It's just like a year old. Like they
Yeah.
just had their 1 year anniversary.
Is that where Varel works?
Yeah, Pharrell.
Okay, I went to
Yep.
school at Varel.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so very progressive there.
Mhm.
They're unlike any physical therapy clinic that I have been to. And him and I vibe really well, and that's why I've like tried to get in to do stuff with him.
He's a good dude.
Yes. But yeah, so physical therapy is super basic, and they're like your low level, just getting you back to like activities of daily living without having pain, you know? And then like,
Gotcha.
I feel like I kind of fill in that gray area of like, yeah, you're back to your day to day, but you're not back to like your hobbies and like what you're passionate about and what brings you joy or what you do on the weekends or whatever without having pain.
Right.
So I kind of fill in that more of like, yeah, I can walk them down the stairs without pain, but I can't like run up and down like a basketball court,
Right.
you know? So I'll fill that in for them. And I'm very like individualized. I feel like in physical therapy clinics, and it's not their fault because of insurance, but when someone comes in, you look at you're like, oh, you're low back pain. Well, let me pull out my folder of low back pain exercises.
Right.
It's not like, oh, you're a 33-year-old who just blew out their knee, but has a history of like all of these athletics and you've never been hurt before versus this like 72-year-old who is super sedentary and has low back pain. Two completely different people, but they're going to get basically the same exercises, you know? So I'm just way more individualized. And then like for massage therapists, because I did post something today and someone's like, are you a massage therapist? Like, no. So with athletic training, like we stretch athletes, and I'm so surprised how many athletic trainers have not like tried to do what I do, you know, like you stretch athletes and you do a lot of like hands-on therapy with them. Just a lot of athletic trainers get into athletic training because they like the on the field type stuff. I'm like one of the rare people who like the rehab stuff. And so now I'm just like, why not like try to market that, you know? And so like people want to come and yeah, I'm going to stretch them, but I also have a background in active release technique and I have a course in like fascial massage. And I just know so many things from all of my experiences throughout since college and beyond,
Right.
That I kind of just have made up my own little like stretching type of like manual therapy type of therapy.
Yeah.
And it's been working really well for people. It's like no one around here does what I do, or because they just don't have like the educational background that I have.
Yeah.
And I'm also, like I was saying, I'm Reiki attuned. So for those that believe in it, it's an energy healing. I'm not going to get into it. That's my sister's thing, but I will activate that like when I do hands-on therapy. And so it basically just enhances like the healing ability to any person I'm working on.
Yeah. Very interesting. So you're doing, so all the services you offer now, you said you mentioned like you rent studio space or like.
Yeah. So I rent space at Steel Yard.
Okay.
I just like, it's just a gym. So I
Yeah.
rent the gym and I train my clients there who like obviously want to work out.
Yeah.
And then I just started with Pharrell, like renting out a room for more of like my therapeutic rehab type stuff, because I was having, it was mainly just people that I knew. And so I would just have them come over. Like I have a table and a setup at my apartment,
Yeah.
and I would have them come over, but I want to like expand to working on strangers.
Absolutely. More
So,
professional and out of your house.
yes. So I talked to him, and so I'm going to start doing stuff there.
Very
Well, I
cool.
have been.
So like if you, for like the Steelyard thing, so if you want to work out and do that, you don't have to be a member there. They come through you basically.
Yeah,
and
you don't
can
have to be a member.
That's cool.
And that setup is very interesting because it's kind of like a mosh posh of like a bunch of different coaches there, because both owners have like personal training clients, and then they have like 2 employees that are personal trainers, and then like I'm just kind of there doing my own thing. I bring in my own clients.
Right.
But yeah, anyone that works with me does not have to be a member there. They just go through me.
Okay.
So.
Cool.
Where do you market? So I followed your Facebook today, so I saw you have that. Do you do a website?
I don't. I
yet?
did have a website, but I stopped using it because I don't
Okay.
use it that much. It's just mainly through Instagram. It's realistically fit _ and then Facebook, which is my name, or I have like my business page,
Yeah.
Morgan Hayes Training.
Which
Yeah.
I shared that one on the page, so we'll share that. Taking on clients and stuff. So like, how does that really work? Like, I mean, pretty much, are you consistently taking on new people, or do you like, are you looking to, I mean, I guess what's your goal at this point? So
Yeah.
get your own studio open? Are you looking to expand services and things like that?
Yeah, I don't really see myself having my own place right now. That's a huge commitment.
Yeah.
I'm not like a big commitment person.
Yeah.
But I would say in person, like with the strength training type stuff, I could take on like 1 or 2 more. Normally, if I get to like a max, then I raise my prices.
Yeah.
So I'm not at a max right now. So I could probably take 1 or 2 more in person. And for like the therapeutic, like rehab, stretching, massage type stuff, I mean, I'm just trying to, whoever, I would love to fill my schedule with that.
Yeah.
And so I really just started pushing that last week. And I've had a really good feedback from it, but I would love to fill my schedule with that. So that's kind of like open-ended right now.
Yeah.
And then I do some online stuff more for like online coaching with like, yeah, if you want more of like an individualized like plan, but you do like, for me, I can get to the gym by myself, but I follow a plan because when I get there, I don't want to have to think about it.
Absolutely.
And I also have a coach that I hired to help with like business, life, whatever, you know, because it's just nice to have someone that's like where you want to be able to talk about stuff that gives you a different outlook. So you're not around people who, I don't know, just don't see things in the bigger picture, you know? So I offer the online one-on-one training for people, and that includes like the monthly individualized programming. It's a 3-month program. And then on WhatsApp, you just have like access to me. I'll send like one of my previous clients, she had a lot of like low back, hip pain. So I would just send her like mobility videos, stuff to do, kind of individualized for her, some breath work type of stuff. Cause like breath is something I've gotten a lot into the past couple of years. So just kind of whatever they need. They just have like all access to me and my brain and everything.
I find that interesting. I appreciate you have your own coach thing, because for a while, I always thought it was weird for people that are coaches to have theirs. But then I realized like you're like, just like someone's trying to achieve to get to the level you are, you're bettering yourself by having then your own coach who's holding you accountable.
Yep.
So like, it's always like a tier, or it's like a ladder and working yourself up. So I always thought that the online coach thing was so interesting to like have someone just on Instagram, like message, like, okay, here's your plan, like rather than like an in-person, but your spectrum can be so broad at that point.
It has taken me a while to like get on board with the online stuff. Cause when I just felt like a fraud kind of, I'm like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
Like, but I realize not everyone lives like in Northeast Ohio that can like come to me, nor can everyone afford like the rates that I have. So online is much cheaper, like for the amount that you get to talk to me, and you get so much more access to me. You know, like I'm as like hands-on as I can be without being hands-on, you know?
Yeah.
And we do like the one-on-one calls like once a week just to see how you're doing, give you homework, set goals. Cause as much as people think that they can just like go into the gym and start their like weight loss journey, which is working out, like your mindset has to come first, because if you don't get your mindset on board, you're always going to end up coming back to where you started. Like you can have a huge transformation, but then you never got your mindset on board. Your mindset's like, yeah, well, fuck you. We're just going to go back to where we started. And eventually you like just kind of get up, what is it, like fall off the wagon and you're back where you started, you know? So it's so much mindset, and people don't really realize that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I started the online coaching, because I'm like, it's just a different way to show people like how much of mindset it really is. And like the exercise is just the bonus that you get to do with it.
Right. I think we talked about it briefly at the beginning. You like mentioned meal prep and stuff, and like that's not like what you specifically focus on, but do you focus, or do you have clients that do like the like lifting what like the training where you do shows and stuff? Like do you coach or train people like that do and do all meal prep stuff, or more on the physical, like the therapeutic type stuff?
I feel when I first started, I was saying yes to everyone. Like, oh, you want to do this? Yeah, I can train you, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, no, like I have no desire to coach someone through one of those shows. That is way too like specific for what I want. I like to work with people who are like, hey, I want to do this, but this hurts. How do I fix it?
Okay.
You know, like I want to get back to doing this. I want to be able to lift my son up, my grandson up, and I don't want to have pain. Like, how can I get there? You know, like I fell asleep, woke up, this hurts. How do I fix it?
Right.
I want those people. But the people like that's a different level. And I don't really like care to give someone, nor in Ohio, you're not allowed to legally give someone a nutrition plan if you're not a registered dietitian.
Oh yeah.
You can call it like guidance, like, hey, well, this looks good, but maybe try adding this and this, or if it were me, I would add this and this.
Right.
So like guidance, yes, just getting people to eat healthier,
right?
Without them feeling like they're being deprived, you know. But that all comes again with the mindset shifts, and then when you start working out and you see the changes, you're going to want to feel your body better. So it's kind of all just like a snowball effect,
right? Yeah. Listed services and stuff, is it all on like your Facebook, like pricing and things like that, or do you just do it like through direct message?
Yeah, I just have it through direct message right now. Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to find someone that I follow online. I was going to ask your opinion about them. There's this girl, I think she works out at LA Fitness, or she used to, and like she's huge. She's got like 1 million some followers.
What's her name?
I'm trying to think of what it is.
I know who it is. One of my friends, like,
how do you get to that point?
That's a great question.
We tried to get her to come on here, and I could never get her to respond.
Yeah.
Just for like the same thing as you. Like, I'm intrigued by the business aspect of it, and I'm like you post videos of yourself working out, and you like kind of critique people, like, or you tell people what you're doing.
Yeah.
And like, get over 1 million people following you.
Yeah.
Now she does like the stretch bands of her own company, and I would think I was telling you guys about her.
Yeah, you showed me her last week.
And
yeah,
she was saying something like she started her own line of them, and she does like different designs or whatever. She orders them by like 10,000 at a time. Wow. She sells out in like 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Like, how do you?
I mean, you could go with the energetic aspect and say she's worked a lot on her limiting beliefs and has no problem being seen. But
I was trying to find. I can't think of it.
Yeah, just like good timing with getting into social media. You know, good marketing, advertising. That's all stuff. Like, I'm not, when it comes to like the business side of being an entrepreneur, I'm like still working on that part. I just like to do what I'm passionate about. You know, and the business side, like I realize I need that to grow. But yeah, some people, they just like are natural at it. And so they just have, and they're obviously nice to look at. That's something that like kind of frustrates me though, with social media being so popular, is like these people who like want to learn how to exercise or lose weight or get like a transformation journey started.
Right.
And they go to someone who like looks good, and their tagline is, oh, you can have my glutes too. It's like, no,
you can't.
Genetics says that you can't have those glutes. Like you can grow them, but they're not going to look like that, you know? So I feel like a lot of people that just naturally have a nice body or naturally can get muscle, like build muscle easier, lose weight faster, whatever it is, they take advantage of that, rightfully so, I guess. But to the person who is looking at those people, I just like want to tell you, like, do your research, you know, because anyone with 1 million followers that has a nice body can tell you what they do for their workout. Doesn't mean they actually know what they're doing. No, because I see so many people with like piss poor form, and it drives me nuts. And I'm like, you guys are like, you are impacting like millions of people to do this the wrong way, you know? So that's what bothers me.
That's the kind of the point I was going to get to though, is like, I feel like, so like with her, and I wish I could think of her freaking name. Not that she needs plug, because she's got 1 million followers, but hers isn't like you said, I mean, she looks good and like she posts videos of herself working out, but there's nothing there for like technique and stuff. You know, I'd like to see someone, which I'm sure there are, but I don't follow them because it's not my thing. But like someone like you in that aspect with 1 million followers, because the educational part is much more beneficial than to watching some attractive girl doing squats and saying, all right, cool, I did 5 reps of this and it'll make your butt look nice. Like if you don't know what you're doing, it's not helpful, you know? But she's just like blown up, and it's just like, one, I want our podcast to have 1 million followers, and I want to
We just have to work on our glutes.
Right. I want to know how the hell she did it, because like, what the fuck? But two, like
and a lot of like some of them they like buy followers.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
we know.
they do have like the I had a coach who he was like, it's all a business. And so he would pay for the company to like go in and like a bunch of people. And then once they like back, then they unfollow them. And I'm just like, I'd rather be more authentic.
Absolutely.
Like,
Well, if you have 1 million followers and none of them follow your stuff,
what
good
good
is
is
it
that
doing
doing?
Yeah, and eventually Facebook and Instagram will purge those people,
absolutely.
and you'll be back to
To square one with 100.
Yeah.
Or like they've got 1 million followers and there's like 2 comments. Like obviously you've got 1 million followers because no one's commenting on your stuff. So, but cool. So I'm definitely gonna share your page and stuff. I want people to be able to find that. And
thank you.
You missed a lot of good stuff.
I
Obviously, you'll be
know.
able to go back and watch. But man, like
You can have glutes like me.
I'm looking forward to it.
well, so to that point, that was the other thing I was gonna bring up. So like my older brother, dude was like born with a 6-pack. So like if he works out, like he's gonna look insane.
Literally, and then he could take a picture and be like, "Hey guys, buy my new program. These 6-pack."
Yes, but like legit, he was like born with a 6-pack, and it's like it's deceiving though. Like we're the same. Like we're blood, and like we are built completely different. Obviously, I don't have a 6-pack, and I probably never will unless like I starve myself and pay for one. But like it's interesting how you can be from like the same genetic group and stuff, and like be completely different. So to try and think that I'm gonna have the same exact body of a complete stranger. Just because, I mean, most people that are like look that way are born that way for the most part, and then they just like excel.
I mean, I went to high school with Ashley Kaltwasser. She's huge. She's a big. She won like Miss Olympia like 3 times, which is unheard of for a bikini. And but she was she was a sprinter in high school. She went to Akron for track, and then she got into like bikini stuff.
Yeah.
Naturally has like amazing glutes. So what is she, I mean, it's smart, but now she has a glute program.
Of course.
Like have glutes like mine. It's like no.
But it's deceiving to people, and people buy into it though. And
and don't get me wrong, you can definitely grow them, but
absolutely
people like they see that and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have like buy this 12-week
if I do her
program,
workout, I'm gonna look like that.
So what does that process look like though? Is that just kind of like trial and error? Like if the 3 of us all came to you and we all want better glutes, like how are you going to assess that?
It would be
and
so funny
like,
to see who can get the better glutes after like a certain amount of time.
I mean, honestly, and that's the thing too, is so many women like
podcast glutes.
They think, I hope that this is getting kind of more like old knowledge, I guess. But like lifting lightweight high reps, and that's like so not right. Yeah, it's just like you need to do like heavy strength training, really push yourself, and then like eat food, because if you're pushing yourself to grow muscle, you can't starve yourself and try to grow muscle. But yeah, I mean, just like a lot of hip hinges, like deadlifts, hip thrusts, kettlebell swings, squats, lunges. Reverse lunges, Bulgarian split squats are great for targeting the
I really want to
glutes.
do that now. I can't get that out of my head.
Hey, I mean, we can do a challenge.
The Bulgarian
Jesse, you can't come in here looking all thick one day.
We asked this question before, and I can't remember the answer we got, but to that point, like, so I think I asked for myself because I was going to the gym heavy when we had this other guest on, and something along the lines of like, you hear if you want to like lose weight and you don't want to get bulky, focus more on cardio, don't do a lot of lifting, do more reps of light weight. And I feel like you hear so much. Obviously, a lot of it's opinion. I'm sure there's education or fact-based based on doing it, but it's like one of those things like we talked about earlier. Some of the stuff you're like taught growing up, it's like outdated or they didn't try it. It's so different. Like mouthwash.
Yeah, I'm trying to ask you what your drink is. Oh, it's gonna have you turn
just
it.
water.
Yeah, so
because you were mentioning about like light weights or more. So what is like, does that serve a different purpose? Like doing, a bunch of reps of lower weight, is that effective, or does it serve a different purpose of doing less
I've always heard
Oh,
that's
that's weight.
toning and heavyweight is
That's what
Okay,
you're
so
saying.
actually,
Yeah.
toning is a word made up by the fitness industry to make working out more appealing to women.
There you go.
So toning actually means like lean muscle, which you get by lifting heavy weights.
Okay.
So the
So
whole
it's the complete
toning,
opposite of what we were told.
Yeah.
yes. So
That's why it's
honestly,
important
like,
for people to know this stuff.
challenging your body, it's Wolf's Law. Like, you have to challenge your body to see change, you know, and challenging it, whether that's with heavy weights, whether that's with higher reps, whether that's with the tempo, or you're adding a hold and it's more time under tension. That's how you're going to see change. But you need to challenge yourself with the external load. So with the weight, you know, doing like high reps, lightweight, that can be good for like warm-ups or for like a burnout if you're really trying to target one muscle and just do like just totally fatigue it.
Yeah.
But normally, and I'll say because there's always an exception to the rule, but normally if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to gain muscle, if you're trying to get leaner, whatever it is, like lifting heavy is the go-to.
Yeah.
And then
That's good to know.
even like, because you're not going to get bulky. And it's funny too, because people that say that, they're like, oh, I don't want to lift, I'll get bulky. It's like, go look at someone that's been lifting for
Guilty
years.
as charged.
Look at someone that's been lifting for years, and you're going to look at them, and it's taken that, like, it is hard to gain muscle like that, you know?
So
it's when the bulkiness comes from when you gain muscle, but you still have like the same layer of fat.
that's what I was going to kind of say.
Yes.
So like me, I am a bigger build. So my concern always was, because like, I'm not interested in being like, I don't, to me, I don't find it appealing. Like, I don't want to be ripped with my veins showing and all that. Like, I want to just be more healthy.
Yeah.
But I always was guilty of that. I'd say like, I don't want to lift super heavy because then I'm building muscle under fat, and then I'm just going to look bulkier than I already like. I don't want that. So that's where I was always kind of felt like I was on that path of less or more reps of less weight, but it's also contradicting.
Yeah, so
it's
the
like,
more muscle you have, which you get by lifting heavy, or time under tension, which is just like slow lower, slow coming out of it, at a hold at the bottom, whatever it is. The more muscle you have, that's automatically going to increase your metabolism. So you're burning more calories while at rest. So that's how you burn more fat.
This is all really important
This
stuff.
is a fun fact. Did you know,
Good.
quote unquote, burning fat, you actually exhale all your fat out?
No, I did not know that. I
That's
kind
why
of wondered
deep
where
breathing
fat
is
went.
so important.
Like, you're literally just, what do you mean by that? Like, I'm breathing my fat out?
Yeah, when you exhale.
I don't have any
You
fat,
exhale
but
fat.
you know what I mean.
But yeah, that's why breath work is so important too.
Huh.
Deep breaths through your nose.
I feel like I got so many more questions.
Yeah.
See, I always
And
thought
breath
breathing
work
was
could
about
be
the
like a whole
blood.
different thing. Actually, I am doing a free breath work class on Wednesday at 6 p.m. There's a Zoom link. I can send it to you guys if you're
I'll
interested.
put it in the page.
Too. Yeah, and I'm just going to go over just a basic, like, building awareness, because breath is literally a skill that we all need to practice.
Yeah.
Even though, like, we all do it every day, and you're like, I don't need to practice breathing. Like, I'm alive, aren't I?
Right.
But most of us do it wrong, and
Right
we do
now,
it.
more importantly than ever, breathing is a very important thing.
It seriously is, though. It helps strengthen your immunity. It helps increase your metabolism without trying.
Is the
It
hands on your head
helps
thing
decrease, not true.
opening up your lungs?
No, they've actually disproven that and shown that hands on your
knees.
Yeah, and hands on your knees help, because when you're standing up straight, gravity's working against you.
I saw a meme about that. It was like every time your coach told you to stand up after you put your hands on your knees, he was wrong.
Yeah.
You're supposed to do
He
that.
used to tell us it was the weakness pose.
Yeah.
That's how I always stand. Like
Larry
Yeah, it
O'Neill, if you're
actually-
listening to this, you screwed me.
It actually opens up your lungs more when you're in that bent over position to get more air in. Yeah.
Fuck my life. You've been lied to forever. Everyone's
I know.
lied to. I'm
Yeah,
probably
breath work
fat.
is like a whole different thing.
I think I'm fat today because I was lied to my whole life. I probably
Just
could have
been
had a
breathing
six-pack.
wrong.
I've been breathing wrong. This is bullshit.
Seriously though, start taking
It's
first
crazy.
start building awareness. How do you breathe throughout the day? Through your nose or through your mouth? Because ideally you want it through your nose and then into your stomach. Because a lot of us are chest breathers, but we're also mouth breathers. And mouth breathing is a very stressful breath, and your body will not let go of fat when you're in a stressed out state.
What was it that we were always taught when you were like growing up, when you were running, like breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, or in through the mouth and out through the nose? What is
It was probably in the nose, out the mouth.
Is that-
But now
is that
it's
right?
always like in the nose, out the nose.
So,
Well, and
okay.
also depends too, because the program I do, it's based on gears. And so there's like 5 gears, and like gear 1 is in and out of your nose, but it's a 5-second breath.
Okay.
So like,
Okay, guys, listen. We're not going to have her give all the secrets away.
yeah, no.
Tune in on Wednesday
Yeah.
and buy a program on breathing and exercising. Because, I mean, you've given a lot of really good information. I feel like I'm sure there's a lot more that you can
Oh,
find out. That's what she does. So
About this.
pay for the service, because that's what she does for a living. So Anything like a last word, that's Jesse's thing, or like a really good tip or anything. Obviously we're going to we'll plug the page. Send me the breathing links. We'll put that, this will be out tomorrow, so we can promote that along with the episode and everything.
Cool.
I mean, a lot of really good information. I feel like we need to do a glue challenge.
I'm down.
And 2, we need to look into it more, because I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff that I have more questions about. So really good to know. I know you came in kind of late, but do you guys have any questions for her before we sign off on this topic?
I don't think so.
No? Nick wants
I just wanted to know about the head thing. So
life questions answered.
Yeah.
All right. So plug your Instagram, Facebook page, any of that stuff real quick before we sign off. And
So Instagram is realistically_fit_. Facebook, my regular page is Morgan Hayes, but I also have my business page, Morgan Hayes Training. So I basically post the same thing to both.
Follow both, or follow at least the business page.
And then I guess just the takeaway I would say from just like listening to me talk, just like I just really want to empower people to like take control of their health, like because we look up to our healthcare system as like this godly thing in our society, and that's just not true. Like just because someone gives you good, just because someone gives you a diagnosis, it's not like a life sentence, you know. Like yes, it's just like knowledge, and you can take it for what it is, but you have the power to like change like your path, you know. You just have to decide that that's what you want to do. Right. And so many of us sell ourselves short before we even give ourselves a chance. So just like know that like you are stronger than what you think you are, and just become like more empowered enough to just like take that first step.
Yeah.
You know?
Seek out people like Morgan who know what they're talking about.
Yes.
Instead of like this girl on Instagram and Facebook and stuff. Like there are people that know what they're doing, who are educated in it,
who are super passionate about it.
Yeah, like I learned a lot from this, and as opposed to a lot of other stuff, but it makes so much more sense. So appreciate you coming on. This segment is sponsored by Ray's Energy Drink.
Oh, it's not.
It's not. I'm lying.
It's not anymore?
Well, I mean, it can be.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to show.
Sponsored by Pepsi.
It's not.
No, thanks for coming on though, for real. Really educational. Get all your stuff plugged on there. Thanks for reaching out. How'd you hear about the story? Oh, your friend?
Yeah, Kirsten
Okay.
told me about you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you told me about him.
And
then you and I were friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
So that worked out.
Works out well. So cool. Well, check out Morgan's Facebook stuff. Make sure you share and subscribe or any of that stuff on Instagram or whatever. Share this episode, because there's a lot of like tidbit information, and then it's going to intrigue people to want more, and then you can pay for it, because that's what you should do anyways. You should support people, especially local businesses and things. So thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Appreciate it. And we will make sure we share this with you, and you can listen to our Wayfair discussion after you listen to us talk about you. So all right, y'all. That's the end of that segment. We're going to head over to Let's Get Social and talk about the Wayfair conspiracy. All right, so we're going to get into the Wayfair conspiracy, bullshit, treasure chest of children, whatever you want to call it.
Is that this episode name?
Let's get social.
It is July 20th, 1969, and man is about to land on the moon.
Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
That's the way the news goes.
Jesse's got the nervous tick going on over there. Good God.
That's how he stays, man.
Good.
I like always shakes.
He
You didn't
always
notice
is like
that?
that.
Stop by
Get
you.
the Michael J. Fox going on over there.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, Wayfair. So,
Wayfair.
okay, guys, look.
Excellent products.
Yeah. If you've been living under a rock, or just aren't on social media, whatever. Apparently, Wayfair is selling children in treasure chests and cabinets and inside pillows somehow. I don't know. You get a pillow with a child, but I don't know how much truth there is to this. So me, Jesse, and Nick are going to spend some time dropping some knowledge on y'all. Professor Unk over here did a thorough,
Not a professor,
investigation into some of the information that's going around. Now, look, we've always been honest with you. We're fact-based on this show. It's not really opinion. I do want to weigh opinion as far as I want to try and discuss both sides.
Sure.
Obviously, we're going to debunk it, but just for the possibility of some of the people that believe this to be true, I think it would be, I think it'd be good for us to kind of say like, okay, so if this was, whatever.
Sure.
But anyway, so Wayfair.
I'll just preface it with the overall how it all started.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's see.
So you remember the whole Pizzagate thing where they were celebrity pedophiles connected to a pizza ring or something like that?
Speaking of which, did you guys see that if you use that hashtag on Facebook, they won't show any of the content?
No.
If you click
Pizzagate?
on hashtag Pizzagate on Facebook, a window pops up that says we're not showing content with this hashtag right now.
Oh, good. I mean,
that's interesting.
That just feeds
Fight
into
conspiracy. I know it does feed into it, but I mean, good for them. Anyways,
okay,
the person who created that whole thread that led to that whole conspiracy is the one who started this.
Is it?
It is.
So
it came from the same. I shouldn't say it was the same person. It came from the same page.
Okay.
On Reddit.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, so this person did not put anything that was super in depth. They came out with a very bland statement and then just kind of let everything else go from that.
Yep.
They posted a picture of Wayfair. There were these cabinets, pillows, shower curtains, like picture books, like baby picture book type
baby
things.
books.
Different products that were all incredibly overpriced. So like $10,000, $11,000, $20,000, and people were going. They basically made a statement that was something along the lines of, "What kind of cabinets could possibly ever cost $11,000? Like, why would these shower curtains cost that?" And then there were other similar products that were priced what we would consider normally like $100 or $50 or something like that. And they said, and if you look at the names of the products, they're people's names. I wonder if this is tied to, and I don't want to say that it is, but I wonder if it's tied to trafficking. I hope it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
And then that turned into a quick follow-up post that they posted where they found missing children with the same first or last names as these products. So like one of them was like an Annabelle cabinet, and then they found a girl named Annabelle something that went missing a couple months ago, and then there was another girl like
there was one that was like
there were some that were very, very like Sarabi or something like that. Like very unique names. Like not all of them were Annabelle. Annabelle's pretty common. You could find a missing kid named Annabelle. But some of these other ones were like very unique names that people were like, well then, I mean, obviously Wayfair is kidnapping these kids and they're trafficking them to people using this as like a code.
Right.
So then that further continued on because now other people jumped into this. Now hundreds of people are looking into this and they're on the website and everything. Wayfair came out and said, of course, this isn't true. And people are going, well, of course they're going to say that. They're not going to be like, oh, you got me.
Right.
But then I guess Tom Hanks does this weird thing where he takes photos of what he calls lost gloves. And so it's just like a glove that he finds on the street.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that, like, he gave some, I can't remember what show he was on. It was like the Tonight Show or Late Night Show or something like that. But he was like, you know, there's just like a depth to the artistic expression. Like, where's the partner to this glove? And like, blah, 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 blah. And I've just been really into that. So it's like an artistic thing for him.
Yeah.
And people have thought it was weird, but whatever. He posted a photo, though, of a glove. And then it looked like it was like maybe power washed into the concrete or like some, you could see letters like faintly on the concrete. And it said SRC USA. SRC on the top, USA on the bottom. So people searched for that.
Yeah. And
it brought up a bunch of weird stuff. And then they started putting in the model numbers for these cabinets because of course Tom Hanks is connected, because there have been people that have said Tom Hanks is a pedophile.
He didn't have corona. He was on house arrest from the Pizzagate thing.
Right. And they say that he's a pedophile. Like there's some actor guy that said that. Now he's dead, I guess. And like, it's weird. But so they connected that. And when you put in the model number, a bunch of pictures of little kids come up.
Bro.
So all of this stuff comes out. And I'm reading it and I'm like, that is kind of fucking weird. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
It's pretty fucking weird.
If you're the everyday person and you're easily swayed and you don't look into it, then yes. If I found
face value, this is one of the best conspiracies. Like Pizzagate, I read that and I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Like, this thing is bullshit.
Yeah.
This, I was like, okay,
It's possible.
Yeah. So at first I was like, okay, things get marked wrong on a website all the time. And then I was like, okay, there's weird stuff on the internet. And then I was like, okay, why the fuck is the name? Like, why are these kids coming up with the thing and blah, blah. And like, these are some pretty unique names on this missing child's list along with these products.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
Wayfair is notorious though for like mishaps on their website, like getting the wrong stuff that that you order, and like,
see, I didn't know that.
It's like spelling errors and like they have a lot of issues. Like people that manage their website, like it's like they're preschoolers or something. Like, you know, they've had a lot of issues with that in the past.
Yeah.
But okay, so that's how it got started.
So my biggest issue with it, and this is my biggest issue with most conspiracies, is there wasn't any facts behind it though.
Right.
There was no missing child that somebody found in a Wayfair box. Like there's no proof at this point. It's all hearsay, coincidence, whatever. It would never hold up in court. Like for me, you got to have some form of proof at some level. There's not even a whistleblower. Like it's not even Tom Hanks like coming out and saying, you know, Wayfair does this. Like we still don't know if he's supposedly in on it or supposedly whistleblowing. Like we don't know.
Is Howie Mandel part of it too?
I think so.
Yeah,
they all are. Oprah, Ellen. I think Ellen was one of them that I saw.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Because Howie Mandel, people are saying on TikTok that he's like being held captive.
TikTok's the worst
By who?
for this kind of stuff, man.
People don't know.
He's just being held captive.
And his last
in
TikTok,
some industrial cabinets.
His last TikTok was on a green screen, and it was like, "These are not signals. I'm not being held captive by anyone. This doesn't mean anything."
And it was just him being dumb.
Yeah. And then people are like, "That's exactly what people."
People are dumb. Like, so
okay. I love this shit, man.
Before we get into too much detail, what you started off with, I think we need to tell like what Wayfair is, what they do.
Yeah. So Wayfair is not a brand,
right?
Which I did not know. I thought that they were I thought they were like IKEA or something, like where you bought their products. So they're not a brand. They are a housing website.
A reseller, basically.
Yes. So they purchase over 14 million products, and they operate out of 5 websites. Wayfair is one of them, and then there are 4 others. I've got them written down here somewhere. Jocelyn, Maine, All Modern, Paragold, and Birch Lane are the other 4. And so what they do is they try to create an aesthetic so that you can search by different categories. So like if you go to Best Buy,
right,
you're going to search, you know, like electronics or something.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be able to search like different particular types of bathroom or style or whatever unless you specifically know what you're looking for. What they do is if I want to have a barn theme in my home, they get enough products so that they can then create a bunch of different designers or brands, bring them together so that I can have that look all in one place, easy to go. So they're kind of like Amazon, just for your furnishings, your home goods, things like that.
Right.
11,000 suppliers go through Wayfair.
Yeah.
11,000. So that being
just for the record, the chair Nick's sitting in and the couch I'm sitting on are from Wayfair, and I did not receive a child. So I don't know if I got gypped.
Did you spend $11,000?
I might have. Nick threw down on some.
Yeah, I did.
Oh no, that was for that chair. That's from Target.
Oh shit.
But who knows? So I don't know if I got gypped out of my child or if I didn't have the right code, but I didn't get anybody with my products. And I
know who's building that deck.
I like this couch, and I like that chair. Wayfair's got some legit stuff.
This chair's nice.
Yeah, man. It's from Wayfair. We sponsored a child.
Yeah.
Unknowingly.
So, quick, like easy holes to poke into the story before I start getting into the actual facts of it. Like this is just my logical thought process that I went through before I started looking into like their actual claims. So one, just because something's expensive does not mean that there's some nefarious activity behind it. Doesn't mean that they're child trafficking. It doesn't mean that they're money laundering.
Just like someone's successful doesn't mean they're a pedophile.
Exactly. I went to eBay and I tried to look up different things that I thought might be highly priced. I looked up Pokemon cards and I just searched by the highest price. The highest price listing for a Pokemon card on eBay is $2 million right now. And there were about 6 below that worth $1 million and then a bunch more below that. Now, that doesn't mean somebody's going to pay that much. That just means that that's the listed price. Doesn't mean anything.
Can I play
These
devil's
are
advocate?
these are multiple suppliers that are going through this. Yeah,
Yes.
go ahead. Play devil's
So
advocate.
the thing with that, to that point, which
Mhm.
I get your point, but that's a collector's item.
Sure.
You're not collecting cabinets
Sure.
or throw pillows. For $11,000.
Many of the products that they had listed were either like fireproof industrial,
Yeah, I did see that.
handmade, like rugs, like hand woven rugs. Like they had a rug on there that I think was $16,000 or something. Hand woven, like some shit's just expensive. Like a lot of people, like we're normal people. We don't.
You ever looked on the Louis Vuitton website and looked at their furniture?
Like we don't.
It's
we don't
30 grand
think-
for a table.
Yes, we don't think about it because we are used to spending
$100.
Yeah, if you get like a $3,000 couch, like that's expensive to us. Like that's a nice couch. There are people out there that would
Spending
never
50 grand on a
think
couch.
to buy that type of like
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so like that's obviously just not a product for an average person.
Right.
Now when you get into like the similarities,
That's what I was going to ask. And I didn't read your notes past the first page.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be able to ask the questions and not have your answers.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, what if it's a similar item and one's 10,000 and then there's another cabinet that's almost the same for 100?
Right.
What is Wayfair's reasoning, or what's the disparity there?
So they've taken a lot of stuff down since then because of the bad publicity that's come from it.
Yeah.
When it came to the cabinets, that's how I found out about the
that.
industrialness. They said, these are fireproof industrial. They're properly priced. It is what it is. Like
They said that they were going to take them down temporarily
to put
because
more details on what it is that makes them worth
because it
that
didn't
much.
properly describe them to make the price point seem reasonable.
Now, when you get into the things like the baby books, the shower curtains, things like that, I personally could not even find those items on there. I don't know if they've been taken down. I don't know if they're photoshopped. There hasn't been any links that I could find. Like a lot of people are posting links to like the missing kids or the original products, and I could click on those and go
or
and
their
see them.
screenshots, but you can actually find it yourself.
Right. But like the screenshots themselves, I don't necessarily trust that.
No, me either. I need something tangible.
The links that took me to the stuff, like I found the rug for $16,000. I found a cabinet for $11,000. Like there are still some things that are up that people are linking to.
Right.
That they're things that I think could be justified to be that price. Everything that was super outlandish, I have not found anything tangible for that yet. Right. So I can't speak to it. I don't know if those are real or not.
Right.
Based off of what I've seen and everything that we're going to go over, I'm going to say that I think it might have just been a glitch.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that they're all $9,999. Like I feel like it's like a click or something that got messed up.
Coding error or something like that.
Yeah. But anyways, so I don't even know where I was going from there.
Well, so I wanted to talk about, so we were talking about the items that you found.
Yeah.
What the cost was. So before we debunk it, because you do have a lot of great facts.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no, I know what I was going to get into.
Okay.
So with the similarly priced items and everything, another logical thing that I thought of is just the idea of bait and switch. So bait and switch marketing is illegal, technically.
Yeah.
If you don't know what that is, it's basically whenever you market something very low value so that people come flying in. You might see like a brand new Weber grill for like $25 on sale.
Right.
Of course, everybody wants to go get that because that's a good product. It's a good quality. You get in there and then they go, oh, well, we only had 2 of those in stock. Sorry, but we do have Weber grills available for $100. That's a bait and switch. They intentionally keep a low stock with a low price to get you in there and then make you buy higher. It's not legal, but it is legal to go the opposite direction where you can put something that is similar at a very high price
and then offer one similar.
And then offer one similar for less. And so you might go over there, even if it's just you might not even buy it, but you're going to be more likely to at least look at it and be like, why the fuck would this cost $3,000 more? What's the difference? Then you get into looking at it. Maybe they're able to sell it to you based on like the product details at that point, and they hope that you'll buy it. Yeah. I could see something along those lines have been happening if it wasn't a glitch.
Because one's $1,000 and one's $100.
Right.
Well, shit, I'm going to get this $1,000 cabinet for $100.
Right. And so they get you to buy something because you're dumb and you fell for the bait and switch.
Right.
But yeah, so that was my logical process as far as the pricing of the items and everything.
Yeah.
As far as the kids goes, 800,000 kids go missing every single year in America. 800,000 kids. We are operating on a website that sells 14 million products from 11,000 suppliers, and there are 800,000 kids that go missing. And you're telling me there's not going to be a designer, a label name, a product name that doesn't match some of those kids?
Yeah.
It's very easy to go and search a missing kid profile and find the name of somebody that matches. Like I'm not going to buy a 2000 Tommy Hilfiger bag and be like, well, they're selling kids named Tommy. Like it's not, it's just not what it is.
Yeah. I think it goes without saying, but I did forget to preface it at the beginning. We're by no means downplaying human trafficking. It's not a thing. Like we had an episode about that. This is about the Wayfair conspiracy in itself. There aren't serious issues at hand similar to what's going on.
Yeah.
But we don't think that Wayfair is selling cabinets with children in them. So,
and just to go back to that episode, if you do want to listen to it, it's the one that's something. What was the title? Be wary of fake news, or
be careful sharing
the dangers of fake news, something like that. Based on Ohio statistics, though, which is one of the bigger sex trafficking areas in the country,
even
majority of sex trafficking is not this, where you're kidnapped, stuffed in a cabinet, and shipped overseas to somebody.
It's usually somebody you know.
Yeah, it's either somebody that you know,
relationship.
It's it's drug dependency. It's a very, very small account. I think there were only 260 accounts, I believe is what we said, of sex trafficking. And of that, only like 8. It's either 8 or 18. Like a very, very small amount was actually forced abduction.
Right.
So the world is not like
Taken,
where you're in some secret illustrious underground bunker being sold because you're a virgin for $1 million.
Right.
So I started looking into it.
Yeah.
And there's like a meme going around with all these missing girls photos, and they've got their names on it next to the cabinet with the same name.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, easy enough. I'm gonna find these girls. So I found a couple of examples. There were 4 that I see all over the place that I specifically went out and went after. It's like the one main thing. So the first one was a D'Alessandro rug that was selling for $26,000. So allegedly, Brandon D'Alessandro fell off of a balcony and then disappeared. They went down to go and find him, and he was gone. That occurred in January of this year, and he was not found yet. But the D'Alessandro rug I found for sale all the way back in early 2019, before any of this stuff happened, before he went missing. So D'Alessandro, the brand of that rug, not tied to this missing kid, nixed it. Debunked. The next one was Annabelle Wilson. We already kind of talked about her. She was the Annabelle 5-shelf storage unit. So she went missing in January. She was found safely after running away from home, and she just ran away again on July 9th. Well, she went missing again on July 9th. We don't know if she ran away or not.
Yeah.
But that was the exact same day as the Wayfair conspiracy. So to think that Wayfair was able to go get this girl, kidnap her, get a shelf named after her, put it online, and have her ready to go by the end of the day, very unlikely.
Far-fetched.
I think that just logistically, Nick can't even get a package to his house. I don't think that they're able to get all that stuff done.
Debunked.
So then my third one that I had was Samara Duplessis, I think is how you say her name.
Mm-hmm.
So she was associated with the pillow.
The $11,000 one that we're trying to buy?
The $11,000 pillow
We
that
have
we're
a
trying to buy.
GoFundMe. If you we might buy this pillow.
If we don't convince you, we have a final course of action. I have a GoFundMe account where we are trying to raise $11,000 to purchase one of these items.
The Samara Duplessis pillow.
And find out whether or not a kid, well, we're not going to get that one because we know that she's not associated with it. We're going to get a cabinet.
Shoot, dang it.
The way that we know she's not associated with it is because she went missing on May 7th while she was taking out the trash, and she came home safely 3 days later. And I found her mom on Facebook, and that is how I found out this, because she posted a bunch of thank you for your prayers. This is what our family looks like back together. We're so happy. Thank God. Blah, 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 blah.
But this pillow is still for sale.
Pillow's still for sale, though.
Debunked.
And then this is the last one, which was Yuritsa Castro. And she is still missing as of June 10th. So I found other examples of Yuritsa cabinets that were sold on other websites outside of Wayfair, like Better Homes and Gardens, which is not associated with their brand. And they don't sell any of their products on the Wayfair site. So either a ton of companies are in on this, or it's just a coincidence. But Yuritsa is a Hispanic name that derives from the Portuguese word small butterfly. And there are over 4,000 girls in the U.S. that have this name. And it's even more common in South American countries. So common name, just so happens to be that the brand is named after her. That is the one that I can't definitively prove is not tied to her. But 3 out of 4, I'm guessing, is pretty good odds.
I also I saw a video of one, I forget her name, but she went on Instagram Live and she said that she was
Like,
alive.
I'm okay. Yeah.
She's like, I'm not a cabinet.
Right. So there's several here that you've debunked that, and I've seen those memes going around.
Yeah.
One thing that we said just in this conversation was that,
hold on real quick. So this information also comes from like news sources that it's a quick, easy Google search. You can search the police databases and find these people's names. If they're still missing, they're still on there. And if they're not missing, it will tell you that they were found.
There's a missing person site you can go to, and it tells you everyone that type in this name, and
that's all public knowledge. They want these people to be found, so you can still find whether or not it takes 2 seconds. Don't just believe things that are on the internet, because this was the easiest thing out of everything that I just looked up.
Yeah. So, well, to one point, I don't think, at least I don't know, but I don't think people genuinely believe that if you buy the cabinet, you're getting a kid in the cabinet. It's not. I don't think that's what people are saying. Maybe the further extension of it is that you're not buying the cabinet. That's code that you're buying this kid.
I put in my order. They know that I want Samara. Yes. And then somehow they get in contact with me, or maybe somebody has nefariously told me about how to go about this.
Right. It's all like within coding. And
I put in a coupon code that's like diddle kids or something, and then it sends me a bunch of kids.
Right. So, but just to be like open and full disclosure.
Is that too far? That's what they're doing, isn't it?
I mean, I guess allegedly, yes. So
use coupon code diddle kids.
Sponsored by Raise Energy.
So you're not getting a kid in a cabinet. We
don't know yet.
Well, we'll hopefully find out if you go fund us. But so there's supposedly it's all hidden coding and like the SRC thing, and you search for it and whatever. You buying this cabinet means that you want this child, this specific kid or whatever. So the other thing is that people are saying that Wayfair, that people can't prove it, so they're kind of just reaching. Mm-hmm. So they're saying, well, you're not buying. Wayfair isn't selling the kids, but they're creating the way for people to launder the money.
Sure.
Okay. So my thing is, and like when you look at it and you think, okay, when I first saw this, my first thing is, well, if I'm Wayfair, I'm not using my public domain to do it. And people are saying, well, hide in plain sight. Okay. To that point, hiding in plain sight isn't selling an $11,000 pillow. That's going to raise questions.
Right.
If you're doing something illicit with that, you're not going to do something that's going to draw attention to you.
Yeah. Giant conspiracies do not get exposed in this way.
Right.
Like Epstein is the most recent when it comes to like child things, right?
Right.
Epstein hid in plain sight. He didn't draw attention to himself intentionally.
Right.
He brought these girls in undercover. He paid them to be quiet, and he used his power to influence people and keep it quiet.
Right.
He didn't have something that had a giant sign that said, hey, 16 and under, come to my house. That's basically what an $11,000 pillow is.
Exactly.
Now, had they sold everything for regular prices and a coupon code was out there that was a secret number thing, then that would be hiding in plain sight. Another example, the whole Edward Snowden Patriot thing, the whole entire country is being spied on by the government through your cell phones, your laptop cameras, and all these other things. This has been proven fact happened.
Right.
That was because a person from the inside blew the whistle, released the files, and everybody knew in a day. There was no conspiracy behind it.
Yeah.
You've always had people going, well, the government listens, but there was no fact. That was just worry.
Right.
When these things blow up, they blow up in an instant.
Yeah.
When Epstein happened, people knew in an instant. As soon as somebody started to take notice and investigated, it was over with. The world knew, everything happened. Yeah. Kevin Spacey had all that stuff happen. Bill Cosby had all that stuff happen. Jared from Subway, all that stuff happened.
It was being reported on by actual. Right. I know people say the news is corrupt and they're not going to report on it because they're a part of it, but some news outlet is going to pick up on this, and it's not going to be just Reddit and tabloid websites like the Courier. Like, it's going to be picked up by a real organization that's going to want to bring it down.
Right. And it's not like when you get things like Penn State and things like that that go on for years and years and years and years.
Yep.
That's because it's usually somebody of influence that's keeping these people quiet out of fear or out of, just shame about what happened to them. Like, you don't have people that are kidnapped and stuffed in cabinets and shipped away by the dozens
Right.
I mean, if you look at the website based on all these things just that we've seen and that I've seen, there's at least 10 or 12 that I saw personally. So let's just say twice as many as that. 24 people have been kidnapped by this company and shipped out just so that they can make $240,000 when they're making millions and millions of dollars. It's not even like a feasible thing that makes sense. So,
and I guess so. I don't know if Wayfair has inventory posted, but like most times you can see if they have, like if you try to order more than one of that pillow, is it going to tell you can't?
I don't know.
Because obviously there's only one Samira. I mean, maybe there's not, but
Right.
whatever, you know, like you're not gonna be able to order like 5 of that cabinet.
Right.
So,
well, then on top of that, like, how am I supposed to know? Like, okay, with Samira, maybe, because that's like a pretty unique name, but like Annabelle, how do I know which Annabelle I'm getting? You can't tell me there's only one missing Annabelle in those 800,000 kids.
That's where the
or
code
more
comes into play, Jesse.
Well, okay, but how do I know what I'm getting? Like, if I'm really a pedophile that's trying to purchase this cabinet so that I can, you know, get some kid that I'm assuming is for sex trafficking, if I'm going to pay $10,000, I want to know what I'm getting.
Right.
So there's just other things that don't line up for me.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? So
if I'm Wayfair and I am part of this, so let's just say Wayfair is helping either solicit trafficking of children or people, their money laundering, whatever it is. If Wayfair is doing it or they wanted a part of it, they're going to make money. They're all corrupt and invested by corrupt people. Sure. They say that's actually the case. This isn't the way.
No.
There's other, I mean, people freaking sell organs and stuff through like the dark web. They're not selling it on freaking Best Buy's website.
That's actually not supported by any.
Well, let's talk about it.
Any history whatsoever.
I just looked up price of children on the black market.
Yeah.
And it's nowhere near those prices.
No.
It's like,
how much does Annabelle cost?
Well, it has them based on what country they're from. It says children in the United Kingdom are 25,000. So that's around.
So you're getting a deal for 11,000.
That's what yeah. Women from Vietnam, 11,000.
Okay, so maybe the pillows of Vietnamese.
Teenage girls in Iraq, 5,000 for virgins, 2,500 for non-virgins.
Where's this information coming from?
It's based on the human trafficking victim prices. I don't know if this website is legit or not, but I mean, it's just like.
But I mean, I agree with you. I don't think I think you're. Sadly, I think if you're buying a person, it's probably more than 11 grand.
That's what I was trying to.
What were you saying though? The Oregon thing. I was trying to make an example.
Yeah, so that's more of an urban myth, like the whole idea of waking up in the hotel with your kidney missing.
I didn't mean that, but I mean like there are people out there that so
Charlie,
you're super wealthy and you're gonna die. Yeah. You need to buy an organ and you can't get on the list. Like people aren't going on Best Buy and buying.
People buy their way onto lists and things like that. But the idea that there are organs out there ready to be given on the black market is not true. Yeah. You can't keep an organ viable that long.
No.
And there's also been there's been literally 0 cases of police record in the entire country of a person claiming that they have had a organ stolen from them.
They weren't like cut up in bats.
It's never happened.
You know the medical expertise you'd have to have and be a criminal to do that?
Right.
Yeah. And then in order to keep it literally if I die tonight in a car accident and somebody's supposed to get one of my organs,
it has to be there.
They have to get it out of me like ASAP.
You're still warm.
Yeah, like ASAP. And then they get it there as soon as possible. And then it might still not be viable.
Right.
So the idea that they're taking it from somebody and then shipping it out for some rich guy, that's just not how it works.
Yeah, but you can buy your way onto things, but it's not done in a public forum. You're not like if Wayfair had a part in this, there's other ways you can do it under the radar. And I get the argument of hide in plain sight, but to the point you made earlier, this isn't hiding in plain sight.
Right.
It's if it was illegal, you're raising questions. It's not. And the one you said's been 2019. The one rug. How much was that? Oh no, the person was
$26,000 was the rug.
Could you imagine being the PR person for Wayfair?
Dude, they hate their life right now.
Oh yeah,
just punching the air.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have it in your notes, but did we debunk the CEO stepping down? So everyone was saying I couldn't find.
Didn't
happen.
happen.
He did. Yeah, I couldn't find anything.
And that picture's not even the CEO.
I know. And then the COO with Giselle or whatever.
Yeah, that's not even him.
Yeah.
Gillian or
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, Gillian Maxwell. Yeah, not
Okay,
him.
So
Is that how you say her name?
I think so.
God, what an awful name.
okay, so
You know,
They-
she,
they have
you know
so
she had
many
a
different-
submarine license so she can get underneath the Epstein Island.
what?
Yeah, people are saying that there's a submarine entrance underneath Epstein's Island,
It's another conspiracy.
and they looked
theory.
up her like
And she has a submarine license.
she has a submarine license.
Jeez.
I did hear about that because there's another island, and then you could take it. It was Epstein Island, and then there's
Trump Island.
maybe there was another island, and
Yeah.
that's supposedly that's how they connected.
Yeah.
And then there's like proof of her being on Reddit trying to like go around and saying like the age of consent in different states and trying to like
Boost up.
that, and like it shows like she hasn't posted that account hasn't posted anything since she's gotten like arrested.
Yeah.
And like she had posted something about her birthday one time, and it is her actual birthday.
Mhm.
And like her mom or dad had died, and there was like a pause of posts during that
So
time
they
too.
believe it's actually her.
So they believe it's actually her.
I could believe
And
that.
that-
She's made it longer than I thought. I said 5 days, and she is still alive.
the
so-
over under was 4.
They have her in paper clothing.
Yeah, I heard that.
Paper?
Yeah.
For
So
what
she
reason?
can't hang herself.
can't
or
hang
anything.
herself.
So tear.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do they really?
Yes. She's on suicide watch.
Yeah.
Well,
Like legit suicide watch.
yeah.
Until someone pays the guard
Like, yeah,
and tosses her a string.
that's what hiding in plain sight is like when you just.
Yes.
Yep.
Anyway,
Um,
we're off track. I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah.
but I mean, it all fits in with the conspiracy stuff. So, okay. So I was trying to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Like, if you were going to do this, if you're Wayfair and you are, well, and to another point, if they are doing it for money laundering,
Yeah.
that's not what money laundering is. Money laundering, the means of income has to fit the source.
Right.
You are going to get investigated if you're trying to money launder money by selling an $11,000 pillow. It's going to get looked into. Okay, it's like if you owned a freaking laundromat, you couldn't be depositing tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
It doesn't make you operate off a coin. You're going to be depositing a lot of coin. You're going to be it has to fit. These are people just outreaching.
Watch
They want it to
Ozark.
fit.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He does it legitimately. Like
Yeah.
he's buying up businesses and renovating the entire place and putting tens of thousands of dollars into a place at a time.
Laundering is structured. There's different ways you do it, but it's not in a way where you're going to get flags blown up for you by
Right.
selling stupid shit like this. So
Right.
okay,
So
let's
I want-
continue.
So let's get into Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how Tom Hanks is associated to this at this point, other than the fact that some people have accused him of being a pedophile online randomly. He has no connection that I can find in this conspiracy actually to Wayfair. They saw the photo. They thought that it was weird.
The glove.
It brought up the weird, with the SRC USA.
That was it was on the ground.
It was like, like-
SRC.
it was like,
I mean, what are the chances?
it was, I can't really tell if it's painted on or if it's like a power wash type of thing, but
Is it
like,
photoshopped.
well, so this is my thing. So if you search SRC USA on Google,
Yeah.
nothing weird comes up.
Right.
It's pictures of American flags. It's pictures of Trump. It's pictures of whatever, USA things.
Things that come up because of USA.
Right. I'm assuming SRC,
It's like source code or something.
I think, I believe that's what it is. So it's bringing images from the USA. If you go to Bing or to Yandex, which is the Russian Google, then you start to get more weird images. So I start looking into this. I do the SRC USA. Nothing comes up on Google. I go to the Yandex and I search it on there. And there's some stuff that's kind of weird, but there's like, it's not like it's like a bunch of kids just pop up. It's
Right.
not some huge, like, holy shit, what are all these
Catalog,
kids? Like,
yeah.
tons of American flags still.
Yeah.
Lots of military people, like lots and lots of military people. I don't know who they are, generals or, just like regular soldiers,
Right.
like all types of military personnel. There's some kids, some normal ass photos of just people like at the bar, like a photo of us might pop up just doing the podcast, like random stuff.
Yeah.
So then I went back and I entered in the numbers of the model numbers, right? Because now I'm expecting like I'm halfway, like, I don't know if I want to do this because I don't want to end up on like a search list or something, you know? But I put it in and it's the same thing, but there's some weird photos. So I'm scrolling through, and when I'm talking about weird photos, like kids pop up, but there's nothing pornographic. There's no naked kids. There's no semi-naked kids. Like there's not like a kid with their butt out or anything like that. Like there's not even like any like nature, like, you know, like
Just
you're
random
watching
pictures of
National
kids.
Geographic, you might see a naked kid running around on the TV and they let it go because it's considered natural. There's nothing even like that.
Yeah.
There are some pictures on there that I would feel uncomfortable if somebody like walked in and saw me looking at that. Like it definitely looks weird. Like it's just like whenever you see a kid online and you're like, man, that kid should not be wearing makeup like that or dressed like that type of
Yeah,
thing.
for
Like it's
sure.
not necessarily anything that's sexualized, but a pervert probably could
Use it for that.
make it sexualized.
But to your point, if I'm Joe Schmo, whatever, I can't fucking talk.
Yeah.
Joe Schmo millionaire. And I
Right.
want to buy Alexa.
Sure.
And I type in my SRC passcode.
Yeah.
I'm not going to want to have to filter through a bunch of random shit.
Yeah.
Like if this code is actually for that,
Yeah.
I expect that when I type this code in to find the person I'm buying,
Yeah.
it's going to take me to a page and I'm going to see Alexa and pictures of her and
Yeah.
only her. Like,
Well, so this is my thing. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, maybe this is it. I click on it because it has the link on it, and
Yeah.
it's not like diddlekids.com. Like
Right.
it's random like websites. Like they're just
Right.
images propagated from a website. So
Right.
like I click on one and it's like a girl at the beach. It's like a little girl at the beach. And it was like a promotion for some, I don't even know what it was. Just like whatever.
Whatever.
Some of them are just random photo like GIF websites.
Yeah.
And that's probably where perverts go to share their little kid like weird stuff. But like none of it led me to anything that I feel like I could have done anything.
Right.
There was nothing in the comment sections that was weird.
Right.
There were no, like, I didn't even see like a lot of perverts like in the comment sections or anything. Like, it's just weird photos that you could definitely be like, that's probably not appropriate, but there's nothing illegal about it. And it's
Right.
definitely not pornography, and it's definitely not anything that I could purchase.
Yeah.
So then I go back and I just delete the model number and I just type in random numbers. The exact same thing comes up.
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking that it's
'Cause
either
it's image file numbers.
right. Exactly. That's all that it is.
Like when your photo saves and it says IMG 1387. If you type in 1387, anybody that's ever posted a picture with that file name, like on your Facebook when you upload it,
those randomly
agree-
digitized or
and you
propagated numbers.
agree to them having that information and sharing it. Like when I don't rename any of my pictures, so it's just generated by my computer.
Yeah.
That's what you're getting.
Yeah. So the reason, so I look into it, I'm like, okay, why is this showing up on this and not Google?
Right.
So I start looking into it, and I found an article that was called, Why is Bing So Much Better for Porn?
Jeez.
Yeah. So I click on it.
You're going to have to clear your search history.
I know. But so basically what happened in 2012, Google went into an overhaul where they completely revamped their search engine. They did it so that they could filter things out, keep things like child porn from showing up on Google, keep things like the black market sales and things like that from being able to pop up randomly on Google, because before that was kind of just like a free-for-all. You could go on Google and find anything.
Right.
If you go on Google right now and you type in child porn, like you're
No
not getting
search
anywhere.
results.
Like no search results come up.
I would never know.
I'm just saying, like that type of stuff
That's
though,
crazy.
like will not come up. And so, Bing and Yandex though, they do not have the money that Google does. They don't have the programmers that Google does. So they don't have that type of a filtration system that works to that way.
Yeah.
So this website, I'm reading through all this stuff about it, and the number one searched term in pornography is the word teen. If you search teen porn on Google, you're going to get, a bunch of chicks that are like 20 something that, definitely are not
Right.
young kids.
Right.
On Yandex and Bing, they also do not support child pornography. That type of stuff does not show up.
Right.
But you're more likely to get like those women that intentionally try to make themselves look young,
Right.
where it's questionable.
Right.
And it's not that anything is necessarily illegal with that, because it's not. They're grown women that are doing it. Like that one chick that had the pink hair and sold her bathwater. I don't remember what her name
Belle
was.
Delphine.
Belle Delphine.
Yeah.
That type of person, right? She looks like she's like 14.
Right.
She's of age. It's all legal.
Right.
But it's creepy.
Yeah.
Google, unless you specifically search her name, she will not come up if you type teen porn.
Yeah.
Won't happen.
Yeah.
And it's so the reason that basically the article gets to is Bing is more likely to find something that is questionable because of their
filter
lack of
system.
filtration. And that's why people find things that are more, I don't know, unique. Like,
Right.
I don't really know. You might stumble on something that you'll never find on Google.
Right.
And the same thing, it's not just for porn, though. That's their entire search engine. So if I type the word teen into Bing, you're going to see some stuff that's not necessarily porn. It's not illegal, but you're going to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
that shouldn't be on the internet.
You're basically blindingly searching the web, so anything's going to pop up.
Right.
You're not searching for something specific.
Right.
So that allows the algorithm of whatever that search engine is just to populate anything that might have parts of that even in a description somewhere.
Yeah.
Because it's not specific enough to generate this specific grouping of items or whatever it is that you're looking for.
Right.
It's too broad.
So, like, and that's just my thing, is it's like, this is all just coincidence. You're searching random numbers. They propagate random file code numbers to a photo from a general area.
Yep.
And it works for everything too. Like, you can do it for SRC Russia. You can do SRC Brazil. Like, I did SRC Brazil, and it was like a ton of like Brazilian chicks in bikinis and playing volleyball and like the Brazilian soccer team and like all of these other images that came up.
Would you search now?
Yeah, exactly. But like, it's just random. You can do it for anything. And so to think that this is somehow connected to Wayfair because you're able to search that code, I guarantee you, I can go on to Best Buy, Target, whoever. I can go on the fucking Pope's merchandise website and type in numbers from his, probably not a good example, but type in his, merchandise number, and the same exact type of stuff will show up if you search enough. It wasn't enough for me to think that something was suspicious, because out of maybe 200, 300 things that I scrolled through, I saw like 150 American flags, 50 generals, and like 20 kids. And some of them were just normal ass photos that were like, whatever.
And that's what I was saying to my point. Like, if that is your like search code to see what you're getting, what are they going to say? You search this and then go to page 8 down line 2 over 3 and you're going to see your kid. Like, you
never
expect to find what you're looking for.
Never once in all of this investigating, like following their instructions on Reddit and everything else, did I even come close to anything that was like child pornography. And like, I've never seen child porn on the internet. Never accidentally stumbled onto it. Never like seen it on Reddit. Never seen it on 4chan. Never seen it on anything. Like, I don't do like dark web shit because it freaks me out, and I feel like somebody's going to steal all my identity and everything.
Right.
I don't even have like that curiosity. Like, that's never happened to me. Never on Twitter. Never on anything.
Right.
So it's not something that's necessarily easy to get into.
No, you have to like really dig deep.
Yeah.
Okay, so to your point about Best Buy, I just pulled up a TV and I searched a TV.
Sure.
And I pulled the SKU number and I searched for it on Bing. And it's anything from high heel shoes to a cabinet that I could say I'm getting off Wayfair with a child in it.
Sure.
To some lady in a super short skirt, which I could say, okay, that's pornography. Coaches. I mean, it's everything you could think of.
Yeah.
Because it's just a random number.
Yeah.
So any post that has anything associated with that.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a kid on here. So you're telling me Best Buy's Vizio TV is actually selling this girl? Which that looks like a picture that maybe would be someone would pose as selling a child. Like, it's a good picture of them.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. And so then I saw another one. Like, people are just grasping at straws. Like, there was a video of a girl who looked like she was maybe,
like, I guess this girl's being sold and her code number is 693248.
Yeah.
So buy her on Wayfair. Like,
yeah. There's a video of a girl who was probably like 6 or 7. She's this little British girl. And her mom is like, I'm assuming it's her mom, is filming her. And she's like, all right, honey, show your cute button nose. And she's like, I don't have a button nose. And she's like, let me see your hands. And she's like showing her hands. And she's like, all right, now say what you're going to say. And so she goes, you can't get any better deals than, and the little girl goes, at Wayfair. And then she does like a little dance. And people are like, this is them prepping a little girl. And it's like, or maybe that's her fucking audition for a commercial that she wants to be in. Like,
right.
We did that for fucking The Circle.
Right.
Like, it's exactly what, hey, pick us. I'm Ryan Weiss and I want to be on The Circle. Like, It's the same thing. Kids do that also. Like, my sister has done movies and like low budget movies and like TV shows and shit like that before. Like, that's what you do. You send in
Audition
like your
tapes.
headshots and audition tapes and things like that. Nick did one for an MLB, whatever,
Fan cave.
an MLB fan cave. We did it in my basement and we like set up a whole thing. It doesn't mean like, it's not always, hey, tell me about yourself. Sometimes it's say the line. And if we like you, we'll call you.
Yeah. If you're going to be a child actor like Disney, like you don't think that those kids ever had to freaking do some kind of weird line and send in a tape for it?
Right.
I hate it here, man.
Like
People are so stupid.
but they really believe it, which
I
is
know.
scary, which is the scary part.
They're just looking too hard. Like if there's not any, like nobody's escaped. Nobody's seen like a Wayfair truck come and swipe up some kid. Like nobody's like, where are all of these children? 800,000 of them.
They're in our Taco Bell meat, bro. You ain't here?
I guess.
They're in the Chuck E.
Grilled
Cheese
taco.
The Chuck E. Cheese pizza.
Like, even if, okay, 800,000 kids, of course, not all of them went to Wayfair, but let's just say it was 10,000. Let's say 10,000 kids have been kidnapped by Wayfair, because that would be an only way that it would be feasible is if it's a large number of people. They're not doing this for 50 kids.
Right.
So 10,000 kids get kidnapped by Wayfair, and nobody's been able to they've never left a trail. They've never left a hint that this is happening. Like, come on.
The stuff that you buy on Wayfair, can you get it from other websites directly?
Yes. So when you buy from like that Samaya one or whatever, it'll say something like, Samaya cabinets, blah, 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 and it'll have your buy button. But then it'll also have like a little link that'll say like other things by Samaya or more by Samaya. And then when you click on that, it'll either take you to another link on Wayfair that'll take you to it, or if they have their own website, you can go to their website and look directly at what they have.
So to that point, then you're at that point, are you telling me that Wayfair and this other company are in it together?
All 11,000 companies
so all
that go
these
through Wayfair.
All these products are all being, and then at that point, why? So if I buy it from that website directly, am I still getting the kid? Or only if I buy it from Wayfair, am I getting the kid?
Yeah.
How does that work? And
Yeah.
people are saying it's dangerous. So one of the people was commenting on our thing, and I told her to listen to this. Hopefully she listened. She said she was going to, but she was saying, it's dangerous for us to call it a conspiracy theory because
it could be true.
It could be true. And even if this isn't true, we're scaring people away from looking into the fact that this is going on, even if it's not Wayfair. And that's my point about earlier is we're not saying that human trafficking isn't happening.
Sure.
All I'm trying to debunk is, and not even that we're trying to debunk, it's just the fact that people are blindly sharing this with no fact, no research. How many screenshots did I send to you guys over the last couple of days of people saying this is this, and then I proved them wrong, and they're like, "Oh, you're right. I didn't even look into it."
Yep.
Yeah.
You're just sharing it. And the one, I didn't either. I just contradicted them just to do it.
And because odds are you're right.
And they agreed with you.
And they agree with me. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're right." And I'm like, I didn't even search for it. I just said that's not him.
Yeah.
To a screenshot of them saying, "Well, this is so and so with Giselle, whatever her name is."
Yeah, Gillian Maxwell.
Yeah, and I was like, "That's not even him." They're like, "Oh yeah, you're right." And I literally did not even look. I just typed that, and immediately she's like, "Oh yeah, you're right. I actually didn't even look into that one."
Yeah.
I'm like,
this is my whole thing. People have this idea that there's an overarching force that is looking over our lives, whether that's the government, the Illuminati, gangs, whatever, the mafia, like whatever.
The only person overlooking you is your Lord Jesus Christ.
That's true. Human trafficking is not happening on a massive, massive scale by one entity. Human trafficking happens all over the place, and tons of people are trafficked, but it's done by tons of people.
Yep.
Human trafficking is your prostitutes that are pimped out by some guy.
Yep.
They're drug addicts who do sexual favors for drugs.
Right.
Like that is statistically the vast majority of them. And the ones that are kidnapped and sex trafficked are on a very, very small scale, usually done by one person. And it's usually done in the form of being forced to, I'm a pervert, I'm going to share this person I've kidnapped with my pervert friend.
Yeah.
It's not somebody's gathering kids, taking them to a warehouse. They're all sitting in a container, and people go, "Well, look at all the shipping containers and stuff." That's yes, it happens. It's in other countries. It's drug cartels, and yes, it happens. But those aren't fucking Wayfair.
Right.
They're not Target.
What did Wayfair ever do to deserve this?
Some guy literally posted on the conspiracy page on Reddit, and someone ran with it because that's what people do. Because they want clout.
Some poor guy accidentally clicked the wrong thing when he was entering prices.
Yep.
And people can't believe that there could be a mistake there because it's a huge company. And so therefore it has to be a conspiracy.
Is it proven false that George Soros owns a portion of Wayfair?
I do not know. I didn't look into that.
I know that's a big thing.
Another big, one big
they're
thing
saying
was,
a lot of the investors or whatever are known pedophiles
Yeah.
or child molesters.
I don't know if it's true, but let's just say for a second that it is true. I didn't see the Soros thing, but I did see Epstein had donated $25,000 to Wayfair at one point.
Mm-hmm.
$25,000 is nothing to Jeffrey Epstein.
No.
And those people donate money everywhere. If you look at the Clintons, the Trumps, you know, any powerful person, millionaires, Bill Gates, they donate. Like, people always look at political things like, oh, well, look at the companies that donated to Trump. Look at the companies that donated to Hillary. Almost all of those people donate both Democrat and Republican because you always want to have money going and favors to ask and things like that. And some people are just generous with their money and they put it all over the place. Epstein's a terrible fucking person. Doesn't mean that he wasn't a philanthropist in certain areas. Like, the dude donated cash to places, and that doesn't mean that they're all corrupt.
Donating money and investing in up and coming businesses does, like to Nick's point earlier, having money doesn't mean that you're automatically a pedophile.
Right.
Like, if you know, Wayfair was started by two guys, like somewhere here in the United States. This is a startup company, and you've got money.
Well,
and you're like, I think they're going to be successful, and I invest in them. So now that automatically means that I'm a child molester.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, just because there's just because there are pedophiles and things like that out there doesn't mean everybody associated with them is that way either.
Exactly.
Like, what was the one dude's name in Cleveland who had the 3 girls in his basement for all those years? And the neighbors came out and were like, I had no idea. Like, I had cookouts with this guy. Like, you would have never guessed. You know, you look at people like Dahmer and all these famous serial killers where people are going, well, you never would have thought that. I never would have thought. Aaron Hernandez. People were going, you never would have thought that.
Speaking of Dahmer, completely off topic. Want to hear something crazy?
Sure.
The guy that Dahmer's first victim, my sister-in-law's dad was best friends with him. He was supposed to be with him that night.
Funny story.
He bailed, and if he would have hung out, Dahmer only ever picked up single people. Either one, he would have made an exception and picked up 2 people, and my sister-in-law would never be alive, or that guy would be living still.
A friend of mine's mother went to homecoming or the prom with Dahmer, not as his date, but in a group.
Dahmer was my math tutor's neighbor, and I would freaking be getting math tutored while he was across the street, like cutting people up in his freaking house.
And all those people thought that he was totally normal.
I mean, I don't know. At the time, I didn't know, but my math tutor was his neighbor. So when he was committing all that crazy shit, like, I was literally getting math tutored next to his house.
Yeah.
When he was freaking like brutalizing animals and shit, I didn't know at the time.
Where's Jeffrey Dahmer from?
Bath.
Yeah.
When I went to Revere, he
Really?
lived right there.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, bro. He went to Revere.
Yeah, his house was on for sale a couple years back. I don't know if anybody ever bought it.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. He's
Yeah.
from here.
So just
Wild. But anyway,
but that's the thing, though, is like, I have taught murderers, rapists, and that's just because whatever, alternative education in low income area, like, it just happens. But a lot of times, not the kid you would think. You would never know. Like, I love some of these kids that are spending 20 years in prison for murder right now.
Right.
Because they were always very respectful, very funny, wanted to learn. And a lot of times they're just mixed up in crap. Now, pedophile, that's a little bit different. That's an action that you act on and blah, 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 blah. Totally different scenario. It's not necessarily a crime of passion, but it's the same thing. People blend in. Like, people have weird things that nobody knows about. Like,
and that's,
we talked about search history. If I look at your guys' porn search, I might be like, what the fuck are you guys watching? But that doesn't mean that you're not, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's things that people blend in. You're not going to know. Just because some pedophile donates to the Salvation Army doesn't mean the Salvation Army is out there shipping kids away.
They have no control over who donates to them.
Right. Wayfair, I don't think that there's a way for them to know all 11,000 companies that sell on their website. And if one of those 11,000 people has someone that works for them that's a pedophile.
Yeah. Jared was the spokesperson for Subway that everybody loved for years. Yeah. And the dude was banging kids and doing the worst possible things.
Yep.
And is now in prison.
If this is true, like everyone doesn't want it to be, but all these conspiracy theory people believe to be true.
Banging kids.
You you don't think that fucking the FBI or somebody's bringing them down? Like, you think Facebook is the one that's really bringing down Wayfair for selling children?
Well, and that's my thing.
Reddit is really the ones bringing down people selling children. Like, come on.
Well, and I think that that's the problem with shows like Don't Fuck with Cats.
These
because
internet people think they want to.
Now everybody thinks that they're a fucking Sherlock Holmes on the internet and that they're going to catch these people. But the difference is Don't Fuck with Cats started with a guy who actually posted the video of him murdering the cat.
Right.
Like, we had factual evidence that something had happened.
Yep.
We have no factual evidence that anything has happened to this point. All we know is that something was priced oddly. Odd search results come up, which if you use common sense, makes sense why they would, but they're not using common sense. So we have oddly priced items, odd search results when you put those items codes in, and we know that people get sexually trafficked. And all of that comes together in this idea that you then are forcing square pegs into circles or whatever, round holes.
Right.
And you make it make sense. And that's what I hate is it's like, dude, we do this with politics. We do this with everything. Like, I don't like Trump, but I'm not going to make it out to be like, the dude has sexual, like, accusations in his past, and that's why I feel certain ways about him. But if he didn't have anything like that, I'm not going to be like, well, he was friends with Epstein, so he's definitely a pedophile.
Right.
I'm not going to associate for that reason. Like, is it weird that he was on his
island
and all that? Yeah, that's a little damning.
Doesn't mean everybody knows what he was.
That list of all those people, though, like Will Smith, Oprah, I don't know who else was on there.
I've gone to people's houses before that I've barely even known for like a party or something.
Absolutely.
If it turns out that they're a pedophile, does that mean no?
If Epstein's throwing 10 years ago, if Epstein would have invited us to his party on a boat, we're going.
There. If he's throwing a dope party on a fucking private island, I'm invited, I'm going.
What if it turns out that the Podfest that we went to
was run by a pedophile?
Turned out to be a hub for human trafficking.
Yeah.
We're automatically associated with that.
Yep. That means we're pedophiles.
People would be like, well, they had 2 episodes about how fake trafficking was. I'm sure that's why. Like, they're trying to throw us off the set.
Exactly. Hidden in plain sight.
People will reach and no
Illuminati.
It's no personal attack or anything, but on someone that was commenting on my thing that I told to watch the show today came back and posted again on my original post and said she shared an article and it was evidence or something saying that child human traffickers or whatever, because of COVID, the numbers have gone up because kids are more often in the streets looking for food and stuff. So now they're exposed more, and that in like third world countries or in like Europe and stuff, they're using delivery services and drive-through services now because you go out places to do it. And she said, well, Wayfair offers delivery service, so that's obviously tied together. Bro. I'm like, every company in the world that sells a product offers delivery somehow.
Yeah.
You cannot blindly tie them together because there's a news article from Europe saying that human traffickers are using a delivery service and Wayfair offers delivery. So now obviously Wayfair is trafficking children. Like, come on.
And that's the thing is it's like
far blind stretch.
There's enough evidence out there that if this were the case,
it'd be brought down.
You'd have the FBI or somebody would be hacking that website and they'd be taking them down.
They'd be doing raids. They would have bought the couch.
Sex raids get taken down all the time. In Ohio alone, we had like 80 people just get knocked out in a sex ring. They're not slick people. And like, I knew this guy. He was a cop at the movie theater whenever I worked there. He is in prison now because he was a pedophile. This guy was super cool. Never would have known. We would sit there. We would joke all the time. Like, he was just super normal. You know, he would stay late. He'd talk to us and everything, blah, blah, blah. One day, years later, after I had got my management position at another place and I was gone, my old boss called me and was like, dude, you're never going to believe it. I'm not going to say his name because I don't remember first and last anyways, but they were like, Mike is like going to prison. I'm like, well, what the fuck happened? This guy was going around finding drug addicted kids or kids with drugs or some type of offense. And he was basically pulling the, you're going to have sex with me or I'm going to arrest you thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. So he is in prison for the rest of his life now. And I never would have known. Right. But that is how this stuff happens.
I got 2.
It goes down instantly. You will just hear one day that a company goes down for that reason. But there's people that are looking on it, and it ain't fucking Facebook that's going to figure it out.
Right.
Everything that, if let's just say this all is true, FBI's known about it.
Right.
And they got way more evidence. And if they did have all this stuff ready to go tied to it, they'd have known how it worked and they'd have busted it
And
already.
they've got the money to buy a
They're
couch or
involved
cabinet.
in it, bro.
The FBI is part of it.
You forgot.
I did forget.
Big Brothers, everyone, every company and every person in the world is a part
They're
of
the
it.
ones overseeing it and making sure it
Right.
runs smooth.
So,
Bro, two things, two
Okay.
stories. To your cop point,
Yeah.
okay? 3, 4, 5 years ago, somewhere within that time frame, someone who I was very good friends with, was in a band with, like we played guitar together,
Yeah.
we did martial arts together, stayed at my house, we went out to the bars, I videoed his concerts for him, got busted in an online child porn ring.
Yeah.
I would have never known. Stayed the night at this dude's house, he stayed at my house. He is now, well, he's out now, I think, but was in jail for looking up kitty porn and having kitty porn. I would have never known.
So when people get caught with that, do they save it on their computer?
I don't know if it's in search history or if they have it saved,
That's
downloaded.
crazy.
I think that they
downloading
can
it.
trace your search history and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think if you're like that, like you probably assume nobody's going to have my phone. So
Yeah.
why wouldn't I just have my phone?
Yeah.
Like,
It
say,
was him and 2 other people that were like in a ring in the Stowe, Cuyahoga Falls area. It's from here.
God.
Another person I know.
Real quick.
Yeah.
did you ever get details on what that necessarily means? Because when I hear
The child porn thing.
that's my other thing is when it comes to this type of stuff, we always get these buzzwords.
Mhm.
And I think that it puts more fear into it. Like sexual trafficking sounds like something in Taken where you're going to be in some underground thing.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily what it is. When you hear child pornography sex ring, I think of somebody kidnapped a kid, forced them to get naked, took their
Right.
photos, and then sent it out to this ring.
So in this, it was like
Is
a
this
group
just
of
a bunch
people
of guys-
sharing it.
Okay.
They're like sharing it amongst each other. Like
So,
they're
so
downloading
that's what it is.
it
They downloaded sex porn
and like shared it with
and
a
shared it
friend.
because they're all pervs.
Yeah.
And
It's not like the Ku Klux Klan. It's not like a group of like 80 people who are meeting up and like watching videotapes.
that's what I want to reiterate though, because like you hear keywords like that and you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
a sex ring.
Sex
Like,
ring makes you think it's a large
It's
It
group of
makes me
big
think
nipple.
it's an operation.
this was not
Yes.
an operation. It was not a nefarious. I mean, it was nefarious, but
This
it wasn't
is-
like a.
It would be like us three all liking kitty porn and like sharing it amongst each
Right.
other. That's what it was. 3 guys.
It's like how we do on Instagram when we see a hot chick and you're like, boop,
look at them glutes, boy.
look
Yeah.
at them glutes.
Except they're
Except they're
under
24.
18. Well,
for
what we
us.
share, they're above 18.
Yeah.
But for these people, you know, they're 17, 16 or young, whatever.
Yeah.
So anyways, so again, to your point, you don't necessarily know. It doesn't mean that I'm into kitty porn because I knew him. I had
Right.
no idea. I would have never
What happens if
guessed.
somebody sends you something like that? Like, do
You
you
delete
Do you
that shit,
report
man.
it? Do you because it's on your device?
So
I don't know, man.
that's
It's
a
good question.
huge problem
It's a
that
good
we deal with
question.
at the school, because technically, if I'm
You receive it.
16 years old and I'm dating the 16-year-old girl and she sends me pictures,
That's
that's
illegal.
child porn,
Absolutely.
and I can end up on a sex registry because of that.
Yep.
We have-
Even as a 16-year-old, you're still
Yeah.
guilty of that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think it goes even if it's like I don't know 100%, but I am like 99.9% sure. Like even if I had photos of like my wife, if
Mhm.
she was 16 and we had been dating that long and I had photos of her, I'm pretty sure that's still illegal, even though I have like her consent as an adult and it's her. Still don't think that that's okay.
I think if it's anything of a minor,
Yeah.
in any sexual way, nude or whatever, that technically.
Yeah.
Now, what about like the pictures our parents took on Polaroids of us naked in the shower? Is that considered kiddie porn?
I think that it depends on like,
Like, I know that's
I mean,
weird, but like
technically,
seriously,
yes.
is that kiddie porn?
I mean, technically, yes, because to us, we're not sexualizing it.
I think
But somebody could.
that'd be one of those things where if it was like in a family album, you probably wouldn't get anything. But if like, it would depend on the context of what
Yeah,
they
that
find
makes
with
sense.
it. But I don't know 100%.
But it's just so weird because, like you said, like the girlfriend thing. If it's like you're dating and you're like sharing it with each other,
Yeah. But like I tell my students and stuff all the time, like, because that's the thing is Nick sends me a picture of his girlfriend. Now I have it
hey,
and I'm, 16-year-old us.
oh, okay.
Some baddies back then, bro.
I'm going to go like,
What do you do? Do you
Well-
delete it? Do you have to tell someone?
if you want to protect your ass,
You just get
You-
rid of it, right?
you report it.
You ain't bros, I guess.
Man.
But-
A rat, he's snitching on you.
But if you delete it right away, you're going to be fined legally. Like they're not going to arrest you because you got sent a photo. But if you
Right.
keep it,
yeah, if it's like
if you keep it
saved
for
on
like
your
2
phone,
weeks and then you delete it,
Yeah.
you're not going to be good to go.
I'm sure there's a way that they can tell, like,
Yeah,
you
for
deleted
sure.
it, or it's
You
been
can.
on your
So, like,
phone, or
there are apps that you can get to like recover lost files and everything. And if you like let's say you accidentally delete
send
like
it
a
one and
wedding,
delete it 101 or
right?
something.
Like, and it doesn't even have to be porn. Like, let's say you accidentally delete your wedding that you just took photos of. You can download an app to recover those things. But if it's something that was taken very, very quickly, most of the times it's not on your phone. So you have like long-term memory on your devices that registers like, okay, this is something that they want to keep.
Right.
And then there's also stuff where like
it's deleted right away.
So
You
it
accidentally
won't be able to
screenshotted
recover
something
it.
and went right away and deleted it.
Right.
My watch does it all the time. Like, I screenshot shit with my wrist and I delete it, so like that wouldn't show up.
Right.
That makes sense.
But yeah, that's something that like you can end up on a sex registry if you're
That's
old enough and
wild to
charged
me.
as an adult. Like we had a very big problem, I think like 3 years ago, where we had some middle schoolers. Like one girl had sent out photos and then the kid sent it to like everybody.
Shared it. Yeah.
And
Now he just distributed child porn.
That kid
Mhm.
got on a list.
Yep.
Because of that.
Oh.
Now it'll probably get expunged whenever he turns 18, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it will if you're like older.
If
Like
you're
you can
older,
be charged
you know
as an
better.
adult.
But like as a kid, yeah, he's like, cool, I saw some titties.
But even that, like
let's show
sometimes
my
you
friend.
don't like, because they take it seriously, because like that 11-year-old girl who doesn't think about it send it to you being stupid, and your 11-year-old self sent it out. Like if it goes on the internet, there's no getting that off, and that's a huge deal. So sometimes they crack down like hardcore on that type of stuff. Like you don't get no warnings. Like you gotta know better. So yeah, it's weird.
So my other story about like, does it just because you're associated doesn't mean you know? Someone I know dated, and this person they dated came to like Thanksgiving at my house, Christmas at my house, stayed at my house. When I lived in Hunters Lake, she stayed at my house, my apartment. Chick was on Snap. Do you guys know what Snapped is? On like crime TV?
No.
Snapped is a show where like women go crazy and kill their husband.
Okay.
This chick was on Snapped.
I think you told me the story.
After like I was no longer associated with her.
Yeah.
She was dating somebody new from my friend, and her mom was very wealthy, and she apparently had saw her mom's will or something and saw that like her mom was leaving her mom's business to her, all of her money to her and everything. She and her boyfriend hired someone to kill her mom, and she lived in an apartment complex somewhere in Akron, like not like a nice area or whatever. But anyways, her and her boyfriend lived there. She called her mom. She's like, oh, like fake crying. Oh my God, you have to get here immediately. The guy was hiding in the bushes. Her mom got out of her car. The guy stabbed her to death. She's doing life in prison. She was 21 years old. I would have never known. Like this chick, like we went to Cedar Point together.
Yeah.
Like,
jeez,
I would have never known that about
How'd she
her.
get caught?
Well, it was like mom got murdered. They were like super sloppy. Like I mean, like just doing it in a dumb way. There was cameras.
Yeah.
And she's on Snap. You can look up the thing, and like there's video footage of it. She's standing there. She's literally standing this far from her mom, watching her get stabbed to death.
Jeez.
21.
I can't imagine.
She was
I
gonna
can't
get
imagine being a hitman.
It was like, yeah, she was 21. It was another dude, 2021, her that she was dating, and then the other guy, same age range or whatever. They were all supposed to get death penalty. She took a life sentence for ratting out her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Who made an agreement and ratted out the other guy, and they're all in prison for life.
It's another buzzword though. Hitmen are not like professional people.
No, this
either.
is just
Well, I know that, but
They're
I'm just-
usually cheap ass dudes that
That's
just
what it
don't
was.
give a shit.
It was
Yeah.
it was just some fucking kid. It was like, cool, I'll take, oh, if I kill your mom, you're gonna get like 10 million. Cool, I'll take 10 grand to fucking offer.
Yep.
Stabbed her to death and watched it happen.
Yep. It's crazy.
Like when I think about that, like sometimes like I've got pictures of her like in them. I said, what the fuck, man? There's stuff that goes on you don't know about.
Yeah.
You know, like there's people that like you don't know. The just guilty by association thing is crazy to me.
Yeah.
So to the point, like
well, and that's the thing that you should be worried about too, is it's like know the people around you, because it's not the big companies and the corporations and stuff that are going to get you.
Yep.
Like mass murder isn't happening by companies; it's happening by average everyday people that are killing each other. Like there's crazy people all over the place. Like I don't remember the statistics, but I think it's like you walk past like 20-something murderers in your life.
Yeah.
Like I know I've already hit my cap, so.
Well, yeah, and your situation's a little bit different,
but it's just like it's insane to me. Like,
I guess I just don't know I don't know what people are expecting or wanting from Wayfair. I think one, it's like people are saying it's irresponsible of us to try and debunk it. I think it's irresponsible for people to share this unknowingly, and you could bankrupt a company that you know nothing about because you shared some conspiracy theory from Reddit.
Yeah.
And the funny part about it is, not funny, but like just the ironic or stupid part about it is like the people that are sharing it and the reasons they're sharing it, and they're saying like, oh, Big Brother is all a part of this and they're trying to like watch everything you do.
Yeah.
You're literally sharing this all on a website where you consented to all of your information being public and shared, and you gave all of your rights away.
Yep.
But that's what you're trying to take down by sharing this.
Yeah.
There's no sense. Makes no sense.
I hate the idea too of like even the original post. Like, I hope this isn't true, but like, it's like, this would be terrible if it's true. I hope it's not.
Bro.
But you put it out there, and now everybody thinks that it's true. You've now caused this crazy movement of like paranoia, and like some people, like when we read it, we're like, oh damn, that's actually a pretty good conspiracy. Pretty like, it's fucking stupid. It's not real, but like we laugh at it, and it's a joke for most people. But there's a ton of people out there that like all the people on your post were like vehemently like going after you and saying that you were like against, like they associate with you saying that this is a stupid hoax with you don't believe in child trafficking. And you make like, they take like this hyperbolic, like huge, crazy leap in logic. And it's like, now you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Because.
But to my point, they were sharing stuff that I was questioning, and they were saying, oh, you're right.
Right.
The one dude literally shared a link, and another guy that was on there, like kind of defending me, who was also defending me against the like food truck issue. And he like friend requested me because he's like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
But anyways, the one dude was like going hardcore, like you're saying. He was on there kind of defending me, screenshotted the one guy's link, and literally in the link, he was trying to prove the CEO stepped down. In the titling of the link says, CEO stepped down, debunked in all caps.
Yeah.
And he shared it with the guy, and he's like, oh yeah, whatever. I shared one wrong thing, so what, everything I'm saying is wrong now? I'm like, well, just shows that you're not even looking into it.
That dude was a fucking clown.
You're just blindly sharing shit.
You got some weird people following you, bro.
Bro, I know.
You got too many friends. I don't know how you do it.
You got to cut them out.
I literally delete anybody I don't know.
But see, this one I posted knowing, like I was like,
you know how many comments were on that?
Over 200.
I was bored, and I was like, I know this is going to get people riled up. I did, like some of them I do, and then I delete because I'm like, I don't want to deal with it. This one I was in. I had time. I got
time today.
I was like, look, I know this one's going to stir the pot, and I want to hear it because I want to know what these crazy people are thinking.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, to your point, it's nothing to do with, this is nothing to do with human trafficking, child trafficking, sex trafficking.
Well, no.
This is about Wayfair and about conspiracy theorists and people sharing shit blindly. They have no idea what they're talking about, and it's irresponsible.
The thing is these people are the exact same people, though, that will look at doctors coming out saying you should wear a mask and say, well, that's just bullshit, and they're all part of
my human rights.
Like anything that's factual, that makes sense, that's given to them by somebody that's of some higher standing than themselves, is a conspiracy. And they're just trying to warp our minds, or it's some type of agenda. But then if they're able to rationalize it in their own brain, which is usually from an uneducated person that doesn't have any like reading skills, basically, like you have to be like, I'm not saying that you can't read when I say that either. Like it's the ability to be able to read information and then intake it and understand it and put pieces together in a way that is based on fact.
Right.
That's something that you learn in school. A lot of people don't use it once they get out of school. And the only reason that I know it is because I have to teach little humans how to use that every fucking day.
Right.
But like, that's the most important thing in the world is credible sources and how to identify them. Like people don't know how to do that. And you can have like, I'm a good writer. I can write some shit that will very thoroughly convince you that something is real.
Right.
But I have to cite my information in order to, like, I put citations on our notes.
Yeah.
Just in case people ask, like, I can post the fucking links from where I found this information, because I could bullshit this if I wanted to, and I could have you fully convinced. I can make a counter argument that makes this whole thing sound real if I wanted to, because I'm articulate. And there are very articulate people that love spreading this type of stuff.
When every source you send or every argument you send is a screenshot of a Twitter thing or some random thing that anyone could have altered, I could literally go on my computer right now and make a fake news article and screenshot it, which I know no one's going to be able to link it to anything, and people will believe it. We could find a picture. We'll just say, for example, we could find a picture of LeBron James with a child that maybe was a fan at a basketball game. We could take that picture of him and post it online on Reddit and say, oh my God, LeBron James is hoarding children at his house.
Yeah.
Someone would share that and it would fucking blow up.
It's like that
with no source, nothing to it.
Like, we know where his house is in Akron.
Right.
We could go. I could hire a kid. I could bring my nephew with me,
Yep.
hop him over the fence, take a photo,
Yep.
make him look panicked or something, and that shit would explode.
Yep.
It's like that video of those people that hired that person who looks like Justin Bieber and had him eat the burrito the wrong way.
Yes.
And then
What?
it went,
Blew up.
it blew up. And
Because
said,
it's like, oh, Justin Bieber's not a fucking burrito. Like,
Justin Bieber eats burrito sideways. They were talking to Entertainment Weekly, Good Morning America.
Yep.
It went nuts.
people will do anything
it wasn't
for
even
the clout
him.
or internet fame or anything. People love the attention.
It all just goes back to like being like clickbait, like being the first
Exactly.
person to report
Right.
on something.
When your fucking web link you share with me, there's also articles on there about the Loch Ness Monster
Right.
or Donald Trump's an alien.
Right.
And this is what you're sourcing for me to read? He might be, but come on.
Yeah.
Give me some fucking actual facts.
And then you got people that are like, well, who's checking the fact checkers? We can't trust Snopes. And it's like,
bro,
these motherfuckers cite everything.
Did you see
which
my
then
buddy?
takes you to another article or a video or a quote, which then can be probably linked somewhere else on top of that because
Bro.
they're a credible source.
But who's in
Like,
charge of the information that gets out?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, who the fuck are we trusting with anything then? How do we learn anything? Like,
Right.
We don't. We just exist.
Everything from the education
Well.
system could be made up because who's giving us that information?
it's all the Illuminati, everybody. Nothing that we say is
We
real.
only learn what we're supposed to learn.
Yeah.
The information that's available to us is only available because they want it to be.
Christopher Columbus really is the savior of America. He didn't kill nobody.
Bro, I gotta find it. But so, and I think you might have commented on it. To the Snopes comment.
Yeah.
Or to the point of the Snopes thing. 261 comments.
bro.
It's- I'm never gonna
Goddamn,
find
bro.
it at this point. So anyways, because I said, look, I use Snopes. It's always a great starting point.
Right.
To your point, they reference everything.
They do.
I
They
can
cite
then
everything that they say.
click those links and I can research that. It's a good starting point because this is a group of people. This is what they do.
Yeah.
They research it and they reference their stuff.
They've won awards.
Yeah. So this person
From the elite.
Oh,
this
yeah.
person shared a link and I was like, what's your source? Or they sent like a screen grab and I was like, what's your source for it? I said, and then I shared a Snopes article debunking it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what makes Snopes? It's run by two random people who fact checks them. My buddy got on there.
He said it was like 21
He's like,
people.
actually,
that,
they house 21 people and there's all their references. I'm like, that's someone that took the time to actually research it
right.
and didn't just blindly share something because it fit their
And it probably
narrative.
took him 5 minutes to do it.
You look up
Researching
Snopes.
is not hard.
Yeah.
Like, it's not hard. You can find things. Well, actually, okay, I take that back. Researching is hard if you are a
and
conspiracy
you can't find
nut.
things to fit your prerogative.
No, it's because Google and the internet propagates things and gives you things that you are familiar with looking up. So if all you do is look up conspiracies, it's going to bring you more conspiracy things because it wants you to be able to continue to click and make them money.
Right.
I look at more fact-based things. So when I search for something, Snopes will do something that comes up initially, or a newscast like website will come up more quickly.
Right.
But if you're always looking at like, what's the big tabloid magazines? Like,
Sun.
yeah, if you're always reading that shit, that's going to be the very first thing that comes up. You're not going to get an article on Epstein from CNN or even Fox. Like, Fox puts one-sided facts out, but there's some facts within it. But like, sometimes, I don't know, they get caught lying a lot, but whatever. But it's just generated that way. So yes, there is an elite that's making you stupid. It's called Google. It's an algorithm. Your stupidity is built upon itself, and it brings you more stupidity because you are fucking stupid.
What about the fact that this all started when Giselle Maxwell got arrested? She's obviously leaking all this stuff on a Wayfair.
Could you imagine? I'd feel like the biggest ass. No, that's not
did?
happening. It's not
Same
happening.
time frame.
None of the names match up. None of the shit matches up. Like, it's all bullshit. She
Maybe-
ain't leaking anything.
Maybe
yet.
Epstein's whole island is furnished by Wayfair.
No. That dude had
I mean,
that dude had billions of dollars.
Where did he get his money from?
Is it coincidental?
He was a money handler for rich people. So
He was
like he
handling
invested
something.
their monies and then took cuts off of the
What kind of job is? What do you mean? Like what?
Like
is
an
it?
accountant. Like he found ways to make their money bigger, like stocks or investments or whatever.
Huh.
And then after he made them money, he would get a percentage cut off of that.
Interesting.
He was just really good at managing money.
Like Ben Affleck.
The Accountant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
such a good movie.
He's so dope.
Never seen it.
But what is?
You haven't?
I know.
I just watched it again the other day.
I really wanted to see it too.
Really
I just
good.
never got around to it, and it's not on anything.
It's really good. What's the coincidence there though?
I think that's just connecting things that aren't necessarily connected, just like Tom Hanks and Wayfair. Like, if I had something that said she was leaking information already, that would be in the news, that she was leaking things out.
Did you see the article that she supposedly has like videos of two politicians with children or something?
No.
Yeah.
I'm sure
that
she has dirt.
That was shared by that was actually shared by a credible source in the fact that it was a major news network.
I'm sure that she has dirt on major people.
Oh yeah.
Like just in that documentary that's on Netflix, like the people that were associated with them. It's crazy because some of the people that were on there have already been outed, like Kevin Spacey and like other dudes like that. But
dude, there's a lot of people.
Yeah. I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if, like, that's the other thing is like everybody's posting all the pictures of like her with Trump and her with Bill Clinton. I wouldn't be shocked if it was both of them.
Right.
Why does it got to be a liberal or a conservative thing?
It's
Like,
probably
why
Bernie
is it Republican Democrat? Like, no, Bernie's a good man.
Was it one of you guys that was saying that the whole Will Smith thing now is because he's a part of it and they're trying to make him look like the bad guy and they're trying to like write that narrative?
That's what I said. I thought that was funny.
It is funny though, but I mean that's to your point. That's where you can take anything and try and connect it.
Yeah.
And to some people, they're like, "Oh, right, that actually makes sense."
Now he's in an entanglement.
Yeah. You can make connections wherever you want to make.
If you want to make it work, just like to your point, you said we could redo this entire show tomorrow.
Yeah.
And pitch it that this is actually true.
Yeah.
Or that'd be fun. That'd be fun.
See which one gets more likes.
Yo, people will believe it.
Yeah. I commented on one of your things. You guys ever heard of the concept of 6 degrees of separation?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's the idea that you are
It's
connected
the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yes, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
So you are connected to any person on the planet by 6 or less connected circumstances. Yeah. So like, for instance, I worked with my buddy Cedric at the movie theater. Mm-hmm. Cedric went to Bookdale High School. He knows LeBron's former coach. In 4 degrees of separation, I am connected to LeBron.
Yep.
You can do that with any person on the planet.
I worked at KB Toys. LeBron liked the toys. I'm connected to LeBron.
Well, it's through people.
Okay.
It's through people. But yeah, you are connected to LeBron by 5 degrees of separation because I have 4 and you know me.
Yeah.
So
it's true though. How do I know Katy Perry?
We are connected.
You do.
That's what I'm trying to find out. How do I know her?
We're connected to anybody
down
though.
by 5 degrees. I know.
We're all connected to Epstein probably in some form or fashion.
Jesse, you
by
realize
6 people
that makes you a pedophile, right?
I guess we're all pedophiles. Like you can find a connection anywhere that you want. And like if I find out that my freaking brother's old teacher's cousin is Epstein, if somebody wanted to push that issue, they could be like, well, he met him that one time. He met the brother met the cousin and he probably has his phone number and they're connected. Made to Motivate as a diddle pad.
And on that note,
the thoughts and comments of Jesse Young do not reflect the Made to Motivate podcast. And
diddle pad.
We do not diddle anything over here.
Especially pads.
Diddle kids. But again, I mean, the Wayfair thing, I don't understand why it had to blow up like it did.
There's bigger issues. We've talked about this on the other one.
I know. Yeah.
Don't make a big deal out of these bullshit stories when there are actual issues that are happening. Let's try to fight the drug addiction that leads to the vast majority of sex trafficking. How's about we start there?
How's about we do that?
80%. I don't talk like that.
It's a distraction thing. It's just the Will Smith Jaden thing. Look, I commend them for being open and coming out.
Sure.
But like, why do we care about their personal life when we're still trying to figure out, to your point?
I still haven't even watched it.
Drug issues.
She was banging somebody or something?
Black Lives Matter.
She was in an entanglement with another man who
what does that mean? She was banging him?
No, she was in an entanglement, Jesse.
Entangled up in
Will gave his consent though. So
Nani?
But again, it's like
I heard Will Smith was really sad.
Leave Will alone, bro. Fresh Prince has gotten his fair
Leave
share.
William alone.
He's gotten his fair share of strange, so he shouldn't be sad about nothing.
Somebody put the meme that said, "My wife got flipped up, turned upside down."
That's fucked up, man. Y'all need to leave Will alone. All dirty.
Oh,
damn, bro. They're in a life partnership. But anyways,
a partnership is two people.
They're in a life partnership. They
partners,
said.
like, hey, partner, not partners.
Whatever. We're so easily distracted. Like, we just always are looking for that next thing. Wayfair happens to be it now. It's gonna. I don't even.
People forget about Wayfair in a week.
Honestly, nobody's even commented on since the last post because I haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
But it just goes into everything that we continue to talk about with sharing stuff, not referencing, just aimlessly going about it. This one's different just because there's so many people that are like really into it. And like really truly believe it to be true, which is scary. And I don't think it deflects away from there being a real issue by discussing that it doesn't have to be happening through Wayfair.
Yeah.
I don't know.
know.
Anything else? I mean, I think we covered.
I say we just end it there.
Oh no, but I mean, is there anything else about Wayfair? I think that's it.
That's everything. I've proven it false. I am victorious over Reddit.
I'll share the notes and the links and everything in the.
I'm victorious over Ryan's friends, who are not really his friends.
Some of them are my friends, and
some of Ryan's friends.
Some of them, like, I don't even know how I know you, but here's my thing. I can have a disagreement with someone and still be their friend. It's not personal. You can believe Wayfair is true, and I'm
can have
okay
a
with still
disagreement
being
with you. But if you're an idiot, I can't be a friend with you.
You know some idiots.
If you're fucking stupid,
you're friends with your dad.
Whoa!
And I've never seen two people freaking debate more about every and anything than you and your
dad.
wrong.
Ron is.
He was trolling you.
He's the most stubborn individual in the world.
Well, he's not as stubborn as me, and I got the facts, so.
He's awful.
Dad, I know you're listening because you listen all the time.
Thank you, Ron.
I'm still waiting for you to answer my 24 million deaths on your 92.5% survival rate comments.
Quick maths.
So
good old Ron, our number one fan. Yeah, I think that's it. As far as show goes, I don't think we need to talk about anything else. Shout out Morgan. Thanks for coming on.
Hey.
Shout out Wayfair for Nick's chair and my couch.
Sitting on kids.
Sitting on kids. Boop, boop, boop.
Sitting on kids.
Boop, boop, boop.
Sitting on kids. Boop, boop. Sitting on kids. Boop, boop.
Podcast.